favorite moment in this entire... Maybe I should complicate this before I start speaking here.
All right. Here we are once again. I got the boys. I got Jay Heat. What's up, brother?
What's
He
up?
just keeps... Yes.
Not impressed.
I had you. And Nick, what's up, brother?
Just when I think I'm out, Zack Snyder pulls me back in.
Love it. So, yeah.
We were planning to do a Green Lantern Beware of My Power, but then the news came out. Jared, would you like to reveal it to him? Excuse me.
Sure. So, by the way, actually, you know, I was going to save this for the end of the stream, but from now on, the late night streams are going to be for Friday night where we hang out and go for like 2-3 hours. So that's what we're going to do. Tomorrow's going to be the last one for this week because we had planned on talking about Green Lantern Beware My Power, and we're still doing that since just watch the movie. We're not wasting that time. But yeah, so what the heck just happened? Because Henry Cavill...
Since it's spoken word, we could probably get away with showing it.
No, I'm not doing that because it was a copyright thing. I'm not taking that risk.
It was from a live event.
Yeah, I'm not taking that risk, Nick. But anyway, so okay. Cavill was being interviewed by MTV's Horowitz on his podcast, but it was like a live broadcast. And my ears perked up when he said, okay, so we have a message from Zack Snyder. So I was like, wait, what? So then Zack Snyder comes on. He says, hey, he asks a question about Henry playing Superman and flying. Then he goes, I look forward to working with you in the future or something like that. It's essentially saying we're probably going to work together in the future because if you notice, because you could say, oh, Jared, he was probably just being cordial. It would be cordial if he said, I hope to work with you in the future. No, this one was like, we're working together in the future. So go ahead, Nick.
Here's the thing you got to realize about these kind of things. Everything is pre-planned. Every word, every syllable is run through at least 15 people and have to be cleared. If you don't think Zack Snyder was on that podcast because Warner Bros. Approved it. They approved of what he said. Okay, this whole thing. Say what are you gonna say, Jahee?
I was just gonna add to your thought. Because remember, when AT&T owned Warner Brothers, they spent 1.5 years, close to a 2-year campaign with the Snyder Cut. And we got it really just in time for HBO Max's debut. So we've been through this rodeo before.
Yeah. And now there's no old regime to fight. Like, because you got to realize the Snyder Cut was an AT&T decision. They forced it into Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers did that kicking and screaming. Now there's no regime to fight back. We all have a unified front now.
Yeah, and it's what people also have to realize about this is that Zack Snyder knows that we're going to analyze the crap out of anything he says, and this dude is known for being cryptic as hell when he's talking about stuff. And lately, he's been pretty cryptic, like with the Thanksgiving picture with his turkey in Final Crisis that later led to the most expensive edition of Final Crisis selling out on Amazon.
Also, here's another thing to consider. He's still technically under contract to Netflix, so he can't announce anything. He's probably legally barred to... Like, Netflix knows as soon as the contract's out, he's out the door. I think Netflix realizes that. But he's still under contract to Netflix till 2024. So he can't really say or do anything till then. He can hint at it.
Well, that means Zack Snyder could at least apply creative input. He can't actually advocate for a specific project, but as long as he's not.
But if they're like for example, sorry, go ahead. If David Zaslav and Zack Snyder, like if James Gunn and Zack Snyder, they just happen to be at dinner and they just happen to be talking about it, and Zack Snyder just happens to say something. I mean, who's wrong with James Gunn just taking his friend's suggestion?
It was a private conversation. It's pure hearsay.
It's a private, non-official conversation. They're just having dinner at James Gunn's house. they're just talking. They're talking like friends, and we can't verify they had that conversation. Yes, we know they had dinner, and wink, wink. They probably talked about it, and James Gunn can imply that,
Yeah, and like I said, and for first off, like we said last night, these guys are friends, so they're gonna talk. They have regular communication, so it's just it's just interesting that all of a sudden we're starting to see all this stuff happen as soon as Walter Hamada gets the boot.
Like I would say, this feels like a heavily coordinated thing. Release Black Adam, announce James Gunn, and then drop the Zack Snyder news, because it's like the James Gunn stuff covers up Black Adam, and then because James Gunn he's a little bit tainted, like he has some past stuff. I'm it's whatever, it's in the past, but a lot of people don't forget.
Just a few hours ago.
Yeah, Tevye, what happened a few hours ago was Cavill was being interviewed, and the interviewer actually had a message from Zack Snyder to Henry Cavill. It's basically like asking him a question, and so Cavill asked a question about First Flight, or how it was like for Henry, and then he goes, "I look forward to working with you in the future." So
this was probably recorded at least a week ago, if not more.
Yeah,
Warner Brothers has probably watched that clip probably at least a couple of times, and they cleared it, so they know exactly what he was going to say probably a week ago, and they still gave the approval for that video to happen, because if they didn't want that video there, it wouldn't have come out.
And I'm probably being too cynical about this, but when it comes to Hamada being credited for Black Adam, we've seen his other projects. God forbid DC's Deadpool 2 ripoff, but I believe that was either that's the only reason he got that credit was because Black Adam was halfway through production. Any other?
Yeah, it was. I mean, to be fair, the Hamada regime literally ended the day before he came out. So technically speaking, he did have a lot of input on the movie, so he did get that credit.
Yeah, it looks like we could be having Justice League 2, and it may be better, because here's the thing. Zack
heavily reworked, because if you go off those original storyboards, you could pull it off.
I would say my prediction is we're going to get a Man of Steel 2 first. I think that's kind of what I think. That's really it really feels like they're really implying that they're going to do a Man of Steel 2. They're probably going to announce it at probably sometime next year at like Comic-Con or something else when they have something to show for it. This is just to get you primed, and then the next major event, which is like San Diego or something next year,
Comic-Con,
they're going to announce Man of Steel 2, and then maybe a Batfleck movie. They want to get people primed for it now, so that way when they do it, they can actually fully be excited for it. They want.
Quick remark. Yeah. The Batfleck movie's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Are they gonna scrap Bat Patterson?
Well, that's actually a very interesting thing, because apparently
Midnight's Edge.
That movie's not going to be ready until about 2025 at the most. And what's making me look, I'm getting a little concerned for that movie now. But here's the thing: it was always the plan to do a Man of Steel 2 before a Justice League 2, because as we know, in Justice League 2, Superman's taken over by Darkseid. So what Cavill wanted, what Zack wanted, is to have one movie where he was that classic Superman, in order for him to in order for that arc to be more effective. And by the way, Tevye, I mean, it could happen, honestly.
And here's I gotta address something first.
Sure.
I know a lot of people are freaking out about the more joyous Superman, like the Henry Cavill comics.
Yeah, I know.
Superman was heading that way anyway. Let's be fully honest. I mean,
did you see the end of the Snyder cut?
Yeah, literally, he was heading in that more Superman direction. Literally, the last shot was him doing the classic, pull thing. He was going in the classic Superman direction anyway. Man of Steel is a origins movie. It was origins.
Mm-hmm.
And to play devil's advocate here, DC was still under the Christopher Nolan effect, where they were trying to use a very realistic style with their hero adaptations. Now it's not as bad. They're actually able to expand a little bit. but they were definitely under that Christian Bale, Christopher Nolan, where they were trying to be overly realistic. Now, with grounded characters like Batman, Green Arrow, more street-focused heroes that with
You
not
can
too
do
many
that.
superpowers, you can get away with something like that. But with someone more gravitas like Superman, it's a fine balance.
We're not going to see a rated R Superman movie.
Oh, that's never going to happen.
With a gratuitous
That'd be
sex
great.
scene. We'll see him in a rated R Justice League movie. Sure.
Wait. Unless they reference that comic, that what was that one old school comic where?
Oh, you're talking about the Big Barda one? Okay, so there was a comic that came out a long time ago, Jake, and I knew it as soon as you went off at that point, where Superman and Big Barda are kidnapped to film an adult movie.
That sounds exactly like something James Gunn would love.
Definitely.
And by the way, PK, so what happens is that it's very heavily implied that Snyder's going to be back soon. So
yeah, we did talk about this yesterday, where Snyder would probably at least have creatively contribute to a few transition projects and to get his foot back in the door at DC,
mm-hmm. Which could be a Man of Steel, because you notice that they haven't really talked about who they want to direct it. They talk about screenwriters, but not to direct. So yes, we're all for Joyful Superman, because that's what Superman is. Zack's whole arc was to get Superman to that point, and at this point, he's there. And what they could do, Snyder could have Man of Steel transition him from the black back to the red and blue suit.
And my thinking is, if Zack Snyder doesn't direct Man of Steel 2, he's probably at least going to be producing it.
Yeah, at some point.
Like he's going to be on the set with the director giving input on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, yeah, and so it's some good times to be a DC fan, because we're getting our boy back, and we finally have a direction. Let's talk about that for a second now. The DCEU has direction, and by the way, one more thing about the joyful part. I know when people hear joyful, they think Justice League, but what you have to understand is that it's not going to be that extreme, because that was
It's not even going to be Christopher Reeve extreme. It's not even going to be Superman.
I still have nightmares by that CGI mustache.
Yeah, me too. Every time it comes up, I'm like, ah! But anyway.
By the way, roll the clip.
Oh yeah, I have to. Hang on. Where is it? I know exactly the clip you're wanting.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah. So, and you know what? Screw it. Let's just play this.
Yeah, second Warner Brothers.
There you go. So it was always the intention to get Superman to that like all-star Superman like level in terms of like attitude and joyful, because that's what Superman is. He wasn't going to be like, he's not Hyperion from Marvel. Let me put it that way, because Hyperion is very much that very brooding and dark character.
He's no Homelander.
Also, oh boy, you had to know who's going to bring that up. We're not.
I will, Tevia. This is for you. I will say this: if they really wanted to market LGBTQ Superman, make a Midnight in Apollo book.
Yeah. Oh, but by the way, Tevia, if they were to make a Super Sons actual live action movie, it would be the bad son of Kal-El, John Kent. Unfortunately, as long as he's that way in the comics, that's the way it's going to be. I'm sorry, that's the way these companies work.
I mean, we could. Here's how you. Okay, Tevia, this one's for you. Here's how you get a Super Sons movie. Man of Steel 2 is basically 10 years. I kind of talked about this in previous streams. You have a 10-year-old John Kent, okay? And then when you do the Batman movie, it's kind of a Batgirl, League of Assassins, Deathstroke kind of thing. And then Damian comes in, who's also 10 years old. And so you introduce Damian, and then the Loop movies, bam, you now have those two. Now you're free and clear for a Super Sons movie. You're welcome, Tevia.
But how would we cement that dynamic? Like they get captured by Deathstroke as leverage, leading to the final act, and they end up saving themselves. It would
maybe in a Justice League movie, they sit in the car and they talk.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. It kind of like in Civil War with Bucky and and Sam going, "Can you move your chair up?" No.
No, what it is they're sitting in the Batmobile, they're talking, and all of a sudden the parademons are coming at them, and then it's like, wait, you're the son of Superman. You're the son of Batman. And then the door opens and they start kicking the parademons' butt.
Yeah, but and here's the thing, Tavia. Yeah, plus technically it's over, but it's getting a mini series. But it depends. But DC is not going to de-age and un
They're not going to
by
throw Tom Taylor under the bus like that. Not right away. They're
yeah.
going to ease back into it.
It'll take a couple of years.
They're gonna wait about a year or two before they start trashing Tom Taylor.
Plus, chances are Man of Steel 2 is not going to have the baby at all, because depending on when it takes place after Justice League. But chances are not, because guess what? It would take too much focus away from having Supergirl. She's the main person that Clark has to mentor in this universe right now.
And I could see John maybe later on. Maybe after Justice League 2. Like if
I could see Lois being pregnant in this movie. You know, I could see it being, she's pregnant, and that could be a part of the story, and Supergirl's in it, and she has the kid at the very end, and they name him John.
Plus, and here's the thing, Tavia, even if John Kent existed right now, he wouldn't be 10. You know how I know that? Because it hasn't been 10 years timeline-wise from Justice League when Lois Lane was pregnant.
Safest bet, John would be a baby, just like Nick said, just born at the very end. That would be the safest option.
He would probably be like Damian was in Young Justice, and that he's a baby essentially. That would be if he exists at all right now. But anyway,
plus honestly, when you said the storyline stuff and it's more of a Supergirl thing, and having John Kent was distracting, that actually kind of clicked something in my head, which made me feel like I would kind of switch not having John Kent in there, because they do want to set up Supergirl, and having a 10-year-old John Kent would just kind of be superfluous. So I feel like you were on the right track with that.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I would definitely have Lois give birth to John as a mid or post credit scene at the very end, but not within the confines of the main story.
Yeah. Can't do that. But
yeah.
And by the way, unless Zack changes the details, she has to be pregnant when Darkseid kills her. Yeah,
more likely they're going to change that, because the Nightmare universe is going to be deviated anyway. So
what they could do is not do the Nightmare timeline. Just say it was a world in the multiverse, and just skip to the Darkseid invasion and everyone unites.
Well, actually, what they could do is the storyline for Justice League 2 would be preventing. They could combine, because the Nightmare timeline is basically like an Injustice kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, So what Justice League 2 could be would be preventing the Nightmare timeline, and you could have Lois actually say, "I'm pregnant" at the end of Man of Steel 2 to set that up.
Okay.
And then you could have Superman tell Batman, and just the look of horror on his face is where he's like,
"My God."
Oh, and by the way, they are not. It's not going to be erased, Tavia. What they could do is condense it severely into half of the movie half of Justice League 2 could be in the regular timeline up until the Nightmare. Then it'll just go 5 years later. Nightmare timeline. It ends. It essentially ends with the Flash going back in time and saving everyone.
Here's a good scene. You have everything from the original storyboards. Darkseid breaking into the Batcave, getting ready to fire his Omega Beam, but right before he fires her, Supergirl swoops in, sucker punches Darkseid, puts up a good fight, but ultimately gets captured, and then we get a Superman Batman.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
What if
Rock of Ages? Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
No, what if Supergirl is actually the daughter of Clark Kent and Lois Lane, and from a different timeline, and that's the Flash movie?
Situation? Okay.
Well, actually, wait.
No. I'm doing a Trunks kind of situation.
Oh.
But here's the thing: when you think about it, that design for Supergirl, that's the design that Tom Taylor had for Injustice when it was the daughter of Clark and Lois.
Basically, you're combining. Basically, it's like a Trunks kind of situation, to where she's trying to protect her own very birth.
Interesting. By the way, in Tevia, she would be the super child in this storyline.
Come on, don't troll Tevia like that.
I mean,
I know, but that's what it's going to be.
I feel like that would be a great storyline to set up Supergirl in Flashpoint, and then bring her in, and then you kind of do have her be like a Power Girl, Supergirl kind of thing. But also you bring a little of the Trunks storyline in where she's trying to protect, like she knows they're going to give birth and whatnot, and she's trying to protect her own existence.
That works actually really well, Nick. Wow. And you said my Jason Todd, you said my Dick Grayson going back in time was like a little too hard to believe.
Well, you were trying to do Talon and Red Hood back to back. I could see his point.
Didn't I eventually come around to the Dick Grayson Talon idea? No,
I'm saying the faking his death so Batman doesn't come looking for him.
I think once we kind of lashed on to I think once we had kind of gotten to it where the Talons resurrected him.
Yeah,
that's where it's just a faking the death. It just was part of it.
That probably would have been overboard.
Yeah, I know that's heavier, but the design for Supergirl is that exact one. So I'm saying they could do that and make it real. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, because most times she's the cousin, and I feel like there's no reason why they can't make it the daughter, and having it be a different timeline kind of thing would work really well with setting her up in Flashpoint. Even if that wasn't the original plan, they can easily modify the footage to do that storyline.
What they could do for Supergirl is if they didn't want to go the daughter place, what they could essentially do is make it so. All right, so she because in Flash, in her Earth, she failed to protect Kal-El. So when she travels to the other Earth, she takes it upon herself to essentially be his protector, because that's what she was supposed to be in the comics. So she says, "I failed on my Earth. I'm not going to fail on this one."
Yeah. Plus, honestly, I think eventually they're going to want to give her her own moniker anyway. So they're going to want to turn her into Power Girl.
Going to a Power Girl or Galatea situation.
But Galatea was evil.
I will say this though.
Same concept.
If they do Power Girl, they're not going to do the boob window, or at the very least, it's going to be at very most it might be a thin triangle up top. It's not going to be huge. They might do a small one up top just to kind of say, "Hey, we did it," but we kind of made it more classy.
Or just put the S sign on it.
Yeah, she'll probably get the same outfit, so it'll be more it's like. They're not going to cover her up, but they're just going to basically just cover up the boob window. But she'll still have the kind of revealing outfit a little bit.
Yeah,
yeah, that could work. And that's basically how they could fit in a type of Supergirl. And then we can have it in Justice League 3. See, she essentially is we can have a scene where Darkseid's about to Omega Beam Superman, and she jumps in the way and she gets hit.
And then she says, "I'll see you again, Father."
No, I'm saying in the timeline where she's his protector. And by the way, basically that's that Power Girl.
No, what I'm saying is, if we're still going the daughter route, she doesn't reveal that she's actually the daughter. And when she says, "I'll see you again, Father," that's basically implying, the baby.
But here's the problem with that whole existence, because she would be from another Earth in the multiverse. So going back in time to prevent her to protect her own existence, it won't affect.
No, there's a difference between something you gotta realize is, for storytelling purposes, there's often a difference between different universes and different timelines. They can be effectively the same, but think of a timeline as different lanes of a road. Okay. Mm-hmm. Multiverses are different roads entirely. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is from a purely storytelling standpoint. This is nothing technical. This is all theory craft. You know what I'm saying? So this is all up to interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
But timelines are, in multiple lanes of a road. And it's different branches of a timeline. They're all existing kind of in the same tree. But a multiverse is, you have another tree entirely. It's the same species. They develop differently. But so timelines, when you do different timelines kind of storytelling, it's you have different points, and you can kind of fold the timeline back in, crisscrossing, but it's the same universe where it's let's say, for example, let's say you have a universe where Superman landed in Russia instead of landing in the US, and it's you have those two branching timelines, but you go back in time. And you have the one that landed in Russia land in And you had that one in Kansas. The timeline folds back in. It's very
but Nick, in the Flash, it's actually another reality itself. It's another Earth. They're going to another Earth. It's not going to another timeline.
Okay, you're trying to cement multiverse theory. I mean, Dragon Ball did this very.
I'm basically going off of Terminator logic. Honestly, I'll be honest. I'm going.
Yeah, but I'm saying, since in the Flash they're dealing with alternate Earths and not alternate timelines, her existence in the main Earth is in no way affected by anything she does.
Outside of Lois's potential death.
Even if Kara dies on our Earth, she would still exist because the Kara that's coming is from another Earth entirely, not in this timeline.
Well, let me modify my theory then. What if on her Earth, she's still the daughter, but she wasn't able to prevent the death of her Superman and her Lois, her parents?
Yeah.
And basically she goes to this Earth to protect them, but she doesn't reveal that she's actually their daughter.
Yeah, that works.
So she dies protecting them. It's kind of merging our two theories together.
Because all I was saying is that based on the Flash's concept, the whole protecting thing wouldn't have any effect on her existence. But yeah, that works fine. And Tavia,
which I'm kind of that's why
my point still applies as before. They're not going to have John Kent and Kara at the same time because John Kent distracts from Kara. They're not going to do. Plus, they only have room for 2 super people in a Man of Steel movie. That's pushing it because
at least Man of Steel 2. Like if you do Man of Steel 3, yeah, you could have Superman, Supergirl, and John Kent at the same time because Superman 2 was narratively focused on Kara, and Superman 3 you can kind of focus on Kara being a side character and John Kent getting the narrative development. But you can't do that in one movie.
I still say I wouldn't in a Superman movie. I wouldn't make any of the side characters the focus of the story. It still has to be Clark.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is that unless there's a Superboy movie or a Super Sons movie, he's not going to get the attention you want, Tavia.
By the way, the best way to do a Superboy movie is Connor Kent.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Connor Kent.
And by the way, it's an Argus. Come on, you don't think Amanda Waller would want to clone Superman? I mean, come on.
In Black Adam, he has. Remember in the prison where they have those little pods? He could be in a pod.
And just make him make his DNA. And you could honestly, I really like the whole half DNA Superman, half Lex Luthor thing. Like I really like that idea.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic.
Honestly, a clone of Superman using his DNA, that version of Superman, that is totally within his wheelhouse.
Yeah, you could totally do that. And
in some continuities, he actually goes out of his way to make himself the human sample to stabilize Connor's genome.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually this really cool storyline in Young Justice they do. I think it's season 2, because Connor doesn't have full Superman abilities. So what Lex gives them are these shields, which give him the flax. I really love that storyline.
I think what they do is they suppress his human DNA, so the Kryptonian DNA is more prominent.
Yeah, it gives him full access to the full power of Superman, where he can fly, do all that stuff, and it's basically kind of a drug metaphor, but also it's it makes Connor have to rely on Lex Luthor. It's a really good storyline that I want to see kind of done elsewhere.
Now, let me ask you this: so, assuming that I think right now we're going to treat this as Zack is confirmed to be coming back. Okay, now
caveat: all but confirmed. I want to leave.
I'm saying for the purpose of what I'm about to propose. Oh, and Tevi says it was actually season 1.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I stand correct then.
For the purpose of this thought experiment, we'll say he's definitely coming back. Now, what DC movie, not including Man of Steel or Batman, would you want a Zack Snyder to do? My vote is Teen Titans.
Also, just know, Blue Beetle is still on the cards. They haven't said anything. I'm going to say the fact they haven't said...
Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
The fact that they haven't said anything about... I'm going to take a no news is good news approach when it comes to Blue Beetle. The fact that they haven't said anything, I'm going to take that as because if it was going to be shelved, they would have had some rumblings. The rumor mill would have been spinning it. The rumor mill would have been saying something. There's been no chatter about it going away.
Well, you would kind of
here's
need a
the
fresh
thing.
spin. You would kind of need like a fresh spin or a fresh take, since the Titan series on HBO is just wrapping up after season 4. So I guess the DeCamu roster would be like a good bet since you already got Blue Beetle.
Because I say this because if they do a Teen Titans, Blue Beetle will be a part of it. He's definitely a character.
Absolutely.
And if they want to build a Teen Titans team, they could do that. Like Supergirl could be a part of it, you know.
Yeah. And for first off, after today, I really want to use this clip. And here's the problem with that, Tevia. You have to set up the Secret Six. You have to introduce the Batman who laughs.
Which version of the Secret Six we're talking about?
Either way.
No, there are multiple. Yeah, you still have to set it up, but there are multiple renditions of the Secret Six.
Yeah. Because the Batman who laughs is the one that was like heavily involved in the current iteration, I believe. The current being pre-Death Metal.
The problem with the Batman who laughs is you're going to have another actor come in to play Batman who laughs, because I don't think Ben Affleck could play that character.
Ooh, here's one that I think. How about they have who's the animated Batman again? I know I'm blanking. Oh, Conroy. They have Conroy play the Batman who laughs.
No, I mean Mark Hamill.
Ooh,
If this was Mark Hamill 15 or 20 years ago, sure. I just think Mark Hamill's a little bit too old.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think here.
The old team, not from the Batman.
Okay, this is gonna be really okay. No. Christian Bale.
Ooh, I could see that.
Because you know he.
Right. But wouldn't that
I'm sorry, but
go ahead, Nick.
If you've seen American Psycho, you know he could do Batman who laughs. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he could. He can, yeah.
But depending on how it's executed, it's probably going to be like a Gore the God Butcher ripoff with MCU. And I wouldn't even count that as Gore the God Butcher.
I mean, honestly, just tell him to do Patrick Bateman at times 11, you know?
Nate has a fantastic option. A Zack Snyder Green Lantern movie that's a buddy cop between Hal Jordan and Wayne T. Carr or Jon Stewart.
Okay.
Ooh. And it's Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern.
To do it.
I think
All
Ryan
right,
would.
So question. Who plays Guy Gardner in this universe?
Oh my gosh. Let's actually examine that real quick.
Give me a minute.
Right. Yeah, give me a minute, because that's honestly a good choice. Who would I pick? Chris Pratt?
Okay. Hot take. Tobey Maguire, Guy Gardner.
No.
No.
He walks down Oa dancing.
Oh, actually, speaking of Spider-Man characters, I know the perfect person to play Kyle Raniere. Andrew Garfield.
Kyle
okay,
Raniere.
I can see that.
Yeah, I could see that. I could kind of see that as Kyle.
I seriously. I like have you seen him in some of his other stuff? Andrew Garfield is an amazing actor, and his style is perfect for Kyle.
True. I'll give you that one. It's that'd be that would actually be kind of cool.
But if you people meme on this a lot, but if you actually remember Bully Maguire, I think he could do a decent Gardner.
Once again, I think he's a little bit too old for the role.
PK brings up that you can't have a Joker voice actor be the Batman who laughs, because Batman who laughs' voice is actually described as exactly Batman's voice but colder.
Oh, I know the perfect person.
Hamill did Ozai.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's my pick. Here's my pick for Guy Gardner. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Actually, that could actually work pretty well, as a matter of fact. And by the way, so Nate brings up Zack actually pitched his movie to Warner Brothers, as well as several others. His movie arc was never supposed to be just 5 films. Yeah, that's true, but not necessarily 5 films that he himself directed. The 5 films that he himself directed were going to be Man of Steel, BVS, and the 3 Justice League movies.
So what DC movies do we know are in play? Obviously Blue Beetle.
Flash, Aquaman.
And then there's also Wonder Woman 3 is in the very early stages. Don't you find it funny that after 2 years, the base is sitting on the shelf, now the film is starting to move forward?
You know why? It probably took so long for them to actually tell Patty, you can't have full creative control.
Yeah,
It was Patty and Jeff Johns that complete. See, here's the problem with Jeff Johns. He can write fantastic comic books, but when it comes to writing movies that aren't Stargirl, he cannot do that.
But there's a reason.
Yeah, like Stargirl, the TV show is legitimately good.
Oh yeah, and technically the Batman who last appears in the DC universe is voiced by someone else with Conroy voicing Batman. Yeah. But by the way, let's talk about this real quick. How do you guys feel that the Green Lantern series is being retooled to focus purely on Jon Stewart? I am very ecstatic.
It's about GD time.
I agree, but you gotta admit, a live action Emerald Knight did kind of sound pretty cool.
Yeah, but here's the problem with Green Lantern is it's one of those series that like everyone knows about, but we haven't had that much exposure to the characters
since GTAS.
And Green Lantern movie as well. That is the most exposure people got into Green Lantern, and we need some. Well, Justice League, obviously.
That's why Jon Stewart, man.
That I was kind of. That's basically where I was going. So yeah,
Nick, go ahead.
And I think focusing on one Green Lantern, which let's be honest, Jon Stewart is the best choice, not just because he's the one people are most familiar with. Plus, it I hate to go here, but it checks the diversity boxes.
And it distances itself from that movie because the movie focused on Hal Jordan.
Plus, it's a person of color being a superhero, so it shuts up those people. Like, as much as I hate to talk about it, it is kind of important, to note that. Like, I would imagine, basically having Jon Stewart is basically your cast a black actor in a role, and it's a get out of jail free card for that one because everyone wants that. Everyone's going to be okay with it. So if you get to have a black actor in there and people are okay with it,
at least it's a black character that people actually like.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of a get out of jail free card.
So you're being
J-Heat.
Even though there are more black characters out there, but because those IPs aren't strong enough, they're barely given the time of day.
How often do I rant about an Icon movie?
And their IPs aren't strong enough because they're not given the time of day. So it's really a vicious cycle when you think about it. But I'm supremely. That's the other news that I woke up to today that I was super happy about because Jon Stewart has always been up there with me as my favorite Green Lantern because I grew up on the Justice League animated cartoon, and that really made Jon Stewart more mainstream in the Green Lantern fandom than Hal Jordan. Yeah, Nick?
Finish your point, then I'm going to talk about my stuff.
Oh, no, I'm done.
Something that I feel like we kind of want to touch on is if they're going to introduce a lot of younger characters, they need to have a team of their own. I know they're talking about doing like a Young Avengers kind of stuff, but like Teen Titans, I think is definitely something they're going to want to build towards. So I think they're going to do a Static Shock movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question. Here's a question for everybody. What would you have the Snyderverse version of Teen Titans? For me, it's probably going to have Blue Beetle, Starfire, some sort of Robin or Nightwing, so it'd either be Damian, maybe Batgirl, probably Supergirl, but what other characters? I think Cyborg would be the liaison.
Yes, so Cyborg's a liaison. Nightwing, definitely. Starfire. Basically, I would have for the base lineup, the lineup from that fantastic Teen Titans Go episode that got the Snyder cut, and then it would be Blue Beetle because if he's getting his own movie, that's just a wasted opportunity not to put him on the team.
Plus, he has playing liaison. He'd be a good substitute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rupert Grint for Guy Gardner. Who's Rupert Grint?
Ronald Weasley.
Oh, okay. No, I can't see him playing Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner has a certain amount of charisma, and I just can't.
And it's kind of hard to balance charisma with being a grade A-hole. So you would.
Wait, yeah. Rupert's an A-hole?
No, Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner. Especially in the Silver Age comics, he was insufferable.
Yeah, it's like I was reading Superman Up in the Sky today, and it's like he just was like, I'm gonna kill you.
I will say this though. If you just look at Rupert Grint and just imagine him with Guy Gardner's haircut, it is a perfect image. He has the look for it, at least.
He has the look, but could he balance?
Actually, no, he doesn't. You know why? Because he doesn't look intimidating at all. And Guy
I'm
Gardner
just saying.
Gardner's a blowhard. He could get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm like, Ron Weasley? No. But yes, and Tevye's right. Raven kind of. I feel like the group that's in Teen Titans Go has to be on the team because that's what people
In
know.
some
That's
capacity.
the baseline.
All right, who would play Raven in Teen Titans?
Can't go wrong
Millie
with
Bobby
Jessica.
Brown.
No, well, honestly, Millie Bobby Brown's not that good of an actress. Honestly,
Oh, okay. Probably.
my Lucy Hale would be my pick.
Okay. You know who I think would?
Have you seen Pretty Little Liars?
I've never seen it. No.
With my cousin, and she dragged me through every episode when we were.
Lucy
Yeah,
Hale's
kids-
actually really good. Lucy Hale's a really good actress.
Oh,
and
she's
plus
good with what she's given.
And plus, she looks like she could play. Like she looks like Raven.
Yeah, I can see it.
Who would play Starfire?
That's a hard one. That's
Haley Steinfeld.
It depends which route you go with. Do you make Starfire? And I hate to go this route. Do you make Starfire the POC standing character, or do you have her more tan?
Here's my stance on it. Whichever actor you choose, they're gonna color her orange. Because Starfire's not white, she's not black, she's orange. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
and
be
they're
fair
not
here.
going to repeat what happened with Titans.
I think even if you cast a black actress, they're gonna color her skin orange, or at least something like that.
Yeah.
Like I just
No reason not to.
So it's like honestly any ethnicity could play her because like it's very easy to color skin orange in post, like or at least orange tint it. So like I don't care whatever ethnicity, like. And honestly, I think Anna Diop did a fine enough job as Starfire.
She did good.
The problem I have with her depiction is that she didn't have like the innocence of Starfire. You know what I'm talking about? It's like if you watch like the Dekamu or Teen Titans, that's what I imagine Starfire as, and the other one is too confident.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but like I'm gonna make a sexual reference and not even realize I do it is kind of one of the reasons why I love the character. Like, yeah,
it's like they really have to like. I feel like they should go in the more comic accurate now route than they did because they tried their best to make her look like Starfire, but in terms of like actual like personality, she was not Starfire by any stretch of the imagination.
I would say, well, she wasn't the innocence. She did kind of have like the emotional, and she was kind of the mother of the team, and like, so I feel like there were shades of her that were very much like Starfire, but I will agree there was no innocence to that character, but like she had shades of the character, and I feel like as the series went on, they really kind of got better at honing in on that part. But yeah, it wasn't 100%. I think
I got an idea.
Yeah, what's up?
This is what MCU should have done with the Netflix shows. Actually have some streaming shows in connection with the new DCU.
Oh my God! Sorry. Just Nate just suggested Ariel Winter. Oh my God! Yes, from Modern Family.
Ooh.
Oh my God! Yes. Oh my God! Yes.
How that could work.
My other suggestion would be Sadie Sink from Stranger Things.
Okay, that
could work.
But Sadie Sink is Starfire. You can see it. Come on, you all know it.
I can kind of see it. Yeah,
I can kind of see it. But where I was going,
she won't have to dye her hair.
Yeah, but where I was going is basically you have with Daredevil, Luke Cage, and the Defenders. That should have actually been integrated into the MCU proper.
Oh
it
yeah,
it really wouldn't have changed that much. If DC capitalized on that opportunity and have a new Teen Titan show with Nightwing, Starfire, Tim Drake's Robin, Raven, Blue Beetle, Beast Boy.
See, here's the problem with Nightwing or Robin. You need to reintroduce them. You need a full movie because, like,
reintroduce.
We know a Robin is dead, and we don't know which one. It's implied to be Dick Grayson, but we haven't confirmed if that tombstone is literally in the movie.
We would have to do a BBS rewatch. We definitely would have to do that.
Well, I'm sure you would have to twist Jared's arm too much.
It's confirmed, but it's pretty much heavily hinted at that after Flash, if Zack does come back, they're going to change it so that is Jason instead of Dick.
Okay, so basically, because if they're gonna do like kind of what the Arrowverse did, where it's like Flashpoint kind of had like a tidal wave, which made like little small tweaks here and there, which it's kind of stupid, but at this point, I feel like it's kind of needed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so okay, operating off of that one, what do you think? What kind of small changes would you want to see? Mine is to kind of just go off what we're talking about. Jason Todd is the one who died, and Dick Grayson is alive. He's Nightwing, and been in Bloodhaven this entire time. But after the whole Jason debacle, he wanted nothing to do with Batman.
Particularly after he saw how brutal Batman got. Like you can tie this into BVS with him branding people.
Yeah. So he like after Jason Todd died, he was like kind of on the outs, like but like he didn't actively hate him. But like after the branding, he just like completely cut the cord.
Because they've done that before. That's why Dick left Bruce in Titans, because he got very violent.
And you could do this you could actually do this in the Batman movie, where like have Batman try and go to Bloodhaven and recruit Dick. It's like, are you still branding people? It's like, I don't want nothing to do with you. Basically just like a 5-minute scene to say, hey, here's Dick Grayson, he exists, and then he goes and you don't really see him for the rest of the movie, kind of thing.
What I would do. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jahit.
Okay, and then based off that, we could still have the character arc between Batman and Superman over the course of Justice League, the Snyder Cut, but have Tim Drake's early rapport, his early training to be Robin, be kind of that transition. Like Tim becomes Robin, they re-cement the dynamic duo. Bruce lightens up just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. And then by the time Justice League rolls around, Tim's actively Robin on patrol alongside him.
Here's the problem is with the Batman movie, if you're going to bring in Batgirl, that's pretty much going to be her storyline. And you can't, and we kind of run into the same problem we do with Man of Steel with too many Bat characters and too much of the same storyline.
Realistically, they're not going to have a Robin. They're just going to have Batgirl fill in that role and then have Nightwing. And then if they bring Jason back, Red Hood.
Yeah, you could if you have Jason, because if they announce Jason as the one who died, that's pretty much just confirming they'll do a Under the Red Hood storyline.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I still maintain that if there's any storyline that fits the Ben Affleck portrayal of Batman, it's Under the Red Hood.
And you can do Under the Red Hood, and you can include Tim in there. Like you can have Tim be the next Robin coming up, and still do Under the Red Hood.
Yeah, because the whole idea of like Batman replacing Jason is part of the reason, is part of Jason's like motivations in that movie. So you do have to kind of bring it up in some way. I mean, you could change it so it's kind of instead of replacing it with another Robin, you replace it with Batgirl, and you still get a similar effect.
Here's what I would do. Okay, in the first Batman movie, it'd still be Batgirl, but you have Tim Drake there, and he's kind of off the sideline. He's kind of figuring it out. And like one of the last shots is like, welcome to the team. Boop, 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 boop. Like, who's that? He's like, hi, Bruce, or should I say Batman? Cut to black.
And then he figures it out. The entire movie, that there's like a little subplot they keep cutting to of him figuring out who Bruce Wayne is.
I actually want to add to that. Then the second movie,
which by the way is 100% comic accurate.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. And then the second movie, we could just have a throwaway line, oh, Barbara went to visit Nightwing in Bloodhaven. And then we could have our original Son of Batman idea. Because in the comics, Tim did feel insecure towards Damian, being Bruce's bastard child. Tim did feel an insecurity towards Damian. And we could cement that sibling rivalry.
That bastard.
Well, wait. When is Damian coming into this?
Because remember earlier, I was talking about a Batman League of Assassins movie. And we could just have Damian as a teenager. Like, he's essentially Bruce's bastard. Bruce was in an entanglement with Talia like 15, 20 years ago. Damian just gets dumped. And then there's a...
So is this a Batman movie or a League of Assassins movie?
It's essentially a Batman movie where he fights the League of Assassins.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about 4 movies here. Because, just got to realize Ben Affleck is going to get, at best, a trilogy to do stuff. At best.
Well...
Let me
but wouldn't the League of Assassins movie be movie 2, and then Under the Red Hood would be movie 3?
I thought the League of Assassins stuff was going to be the first one, because if you're going to have Deathstroke in there and have him be a member of League of Assassins,
and then just have.
According to the plot of that movie, because that movie's already been plotted out, the League of Assassins is just a throwaway reference. They don't play a large role in the first movie.
What I was suggesting was more akin to a more recent story, Shadow War, where it's believed Deathstroke killed Ra's al Ghul. So Talia sends a teenage Damian to Bruce to protect her. Like this is unnecessary. I can take care of myself. You're not a child. You're not a warrior. You're a child.
I really feel like if you're going to include Damon, you got to bring in Talia for something, you know.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
of course. We're not saying don't bring in Talia. She comes with him.
I'm just trying to make this all fit together. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, because we're already going to establish like Bruce and Slade had a rivalry with the League of Assassins and how that integrates in Batman 1. Batman 2 is more akin to Shadow War. Ra's is killed off. It's a power vacuum. Talia sends a teenage Damian to Bruce and it means to protect him. Damian wants to go after Slade. He wants to do things his way. Talia
Kind of
has
like in Son of Batman, the animated movie.
basically. It's a retread, but you can make it work.
I mean, ultimately, the way I would do it is have movie 3 be Court of Owls, and basically have them like 1 and 2 basically be the ones pulling the strings for movie 1 and 2 villains. You know.
Okay.
But here's
Like-
the thing: would Deathstroke team up with the Court of Owls? I don't think so. And second off,
For the right price, he would.
it's heavily implied, I think, that the Court of Owls are going to be a villain for the Matt Reeves Batman trilogy. So if that's going to happen, they can't have Court of Owls in 2 movies.
It would be.
I'm just like, I just want to say this. I heard rumors that they might be doing Mr. Freeze for the next Batman movie. Like,
No, I'm
with
saying
Patterson.
I'm saying movie 3 is the Court.
Court of Owls.
Okay, so here's the thing. I actually like the Patterson movie, and I really
Me
want to
too.
see it continue. And especially if they do, like I like the idea of Mr. Freeze in that universe just fills me with so much like hype. And then having the court, like, because they've already kind of implied there is a little bit of a shadow government going on.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
Court of Owls for books. Okay, let's do something we don't do before. Let's transition to Patterson Batman. Let's do some speculation there. We haven't done that very often.
Assuming it
Here's-
actually comes out.
Exactly. Here's my thing. I think that kid is going to be Robin. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Freeze is going to be this, and then you have they try to recruit that kid to be a Talon in movie 3.
My trilogy, the way I line this up, based upon like some subtle hints in this movie, is that movie 1 what was the Riddler, movie 2 is Hush, movie 3 is the Court of Owls. I say Hush because if you notice, there was a scene when Bruce is looking at the TV that's basically showing the Riddler's next target, and it's the Waynes. And what pops on first, the journalist that was killed was named Elliot, and then Hush pops on the screen. So I'm thinking they're implying that maybe his son becomes Hush.
I really want a Mr. Freeze in that universe. Like, I wanted it to be the Batman Heart of Ice.
Yeah, but
And then it's revealed that the Court of Owls was the one bankrolling it.
No, I'm saying no matter who the villain of movie 2 is, movie 3 is gonna be the Court of Owls, the Court of Owls, and then what they'll establish that since Batman 1, or like since before that, they've been like controlling everything that goes down. They even like, hired the Riddler.
Compromise, okay, for movie 2. The Mr. Freeze hired by Hush, who is working with the Court of Owls.
But why would Hush hire a? Oh yeah, he kind of did do that.
Because remember, in the Batman, technically there was 2 villains in the Batman. You had the Penguin, and you had the Riddler. So it like Mr. Freeze is like the front-facing villain, and then the Hush is kind of like the one in the shadows, which is what the Riddler was basically. Because the Penguin was a front-facing villain for the first part of the movie, and the Riddler was kind of the one in the shadows. So kind of going off of that structure, you have Mr. Freeze being the front-facing villain, and then Hush is kind of the back one, and then it's revealed that Hush is actually working for someone.
And what's interesting is that
could work.
They could title, that could, and they could title it Batman Hush, movie 2. I say that because that is pretty much the dynamic of the Hush comic. We have all these front villains,
Heart of Ice,
Hush.
because Thomas Elliott is a heart surgeon, and Heart of Ice was like one of the most iconic, Mr. Freeze stories.
True.
It could. Hush would have to play a middleman on behalf of the court.
Yeah,
like
that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because
Hush actually funds Mr. Freeze's project. You pretty much get the same as you get the Arkham Origins DLC. Same thing. The only difference is towards the end, Hush sabotages Mr. Freeze's suit because if Freeze talks, it could risk exposing the court.
Also, I want it to be Thomas Elliot, Bruce Wayne's friend from a child, because basically the Court of Owls. I can see that.
I could see that. I could see that. Honestly.
Yeah. So because the Court of Owls is basically eyed wide shut, secret society, rich people, and having Thomas Elliot do the work of the Court of Owls makes sense because Thomas Elliot is also a person of privilege, and having him, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it makes sense for him. Like honestly, if it was revealed that Hush was a member of the Court of Owls, I would not be surprised. Like that would make perfect sense. Like you could retcon Hush into being a Court of Owls plan. The storyline. And so and plus I love that kind of dynamic of it's kind of like a Spider-Man, like Harry Osborn kind of situation, but like they're more on even footing. Because Thomas Elliot is also a rich person, and you can do flashbacks. I think it would work really good.
It would, and Nick, the only reason why I say Hush instead of Heart of Ice, I get what you're going for, except the plot that we have that's the compromise is literally the dynamic from the Hush comic, where again it's all these villains are out front, and Hush is the side guy. And by the way, here's my plot for this movie is basically Mr. Freeze is on the scene. Batman tries to fight him. He almost dies. Thomas Elliot has to come out of. It's basically combining Mr. Freeze with the plot of Hush.
That's what I'm saying.
Thomas Elliot has to come on, and he's like his friend, and then it's kind of revealed at the very end that he's Hush.
First off, yes, and second off, I was just referring to titling it Hush instead of Heart of Ice.
And here's the only downside about that, because we already have Bat Patterson and Catwoman's dynamic. It would kind of be a retread. The only difference is they get a little bit more.
Also, I have to say, Nate's picks for Mr. Freeze is inspired.
Yeah, that is really good. I could definitely see him being good, Mr. Freeze.
Because here's the thing on Mr. Freeze: he's gonna be blue. He's gonna be like his race. Like honestly, you want to have a black. First off, that voice, because like
that voice is
Freeze,
Mr. Freeze.
Like you put a little reverb and have him be like cold. Oh my god!
And by the way,
sorry.
Wait, here's potential casting: Arnold Schwarzenegger as Bane.
Oh God! So
I want to give you the middle finger so badly right now.
So I'll do this. You deserve that one. So
how's that feel, brother?
So Dave the Impaler brings up Zack Snyder's return is all but guaranteed at this point if he wants to. Snyder is friends with James Gunn and even referred crew members. Yeah, pretty much. We're gonna treat it as he is coming back because there's too much pointing in that direction. That's more than likely. When his Netflix deal is coming in, he'll at least come in as a producer to help guide the universe. So we're at least going to have that. Mm-hmm. To an extent, which I'm so happy for because we're getting our boy back. So maybe we'll have, it'd be hilarious is if he records another skit where he goes, "Suck it, Hamada." That'd be terrific. But
you would never stop using that clip.
Yeah.
I'm never going to stop using that clip forever. It's kind of iconic at this point.
But a Bat Patterson Catwoman movie, how would that?
Yes, Batcat. What they could do is do it so it's like the Tom King run, only good. In other words, they actually fulfill the whole marriage thing. They don't have Thomas Wayne Batman come in. They just keep it a nice, small story.
Okay, question. Who plays Hush?
That's a good question.
Because it needs to be someone around Robert Pattinson.
Okay,
Taylor
I'm not
Lautner.
being serious. I'm not being serious by this, but I was legit thinking that because I'm like, okay, they're already hostile to each other.
Oh, so if they ever put Ra's al Ghul in either universe, my pick for him is Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen for Ra's al Ghul.
No.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
That is not
what?
That is not an inspired choice.
Why?
Matt Smith for Hush.
Yeah. He's a little bit too old, but I can kind of see
work.
Well, here's the thing, Nick. You need someone that would look young without CGI because if he's using the Lazarus Pit, it's gonna age him back, and then he has to be able to fight Batman.
Matt Smith, he like if you see like he kind of looks like 5 to 10 years older than Patterson. Looks wise.
Mm-hmm. True, that's the only issue. You need someone old enough that they could fight Pattinson, but not young enough that it looks
like
close.
Patterson looks like he's in his 30s. Matt Smith looks like he's in his like early to mid 40s.
I got an idea. Ben Affleck. How screwy would that be? That's a joke, but I'm just saying, how screwy would that be?
So wait. I'm trying to think.
Hold on. Where's this? I'm trying to remember his name. I'm trying to look up this actor.
Who else?
Actually, Liam Hemsworth would be a good pick.
Yeah, but it would be
this age. Yeah,
you know, like Gale from Hunger Games. Because I'm thinking of like actors who were like big in the teen scene in like the late 2000s. Like that's where I'm casting.
Yeah,
from.
because Hush has to be around Bruce Wayne's age.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking like that's why I'm thinking of like the YA actors from the late 2000s, early 10s kind of stuff. You know.
Wait, who's that one quirky paranoid? The one quirky guy from The Office. What's his name?
Ryan.
That. Hold on.
John Krasinski. John Krasinski is Mr. Fantastic.
No,
no, not John Krasinski.
He's talking about Ryan from The Office.
I don't know.
Ryan the temp.
No, hold on.
And by the way, in Nate's memes, Snyder's definitely coming back. They have been to secret meetings. Tyron Magnus said Snyder was coming back a couple of months ago. Yep, 100%. It's going to happen. And you know what? And think about it this way: his Justice League sequels are going to be better than they were before. I say that because he has way more characters to play with now. Freddie Highmore.
Okay.
Oh no, I have the perfect one.
Who?
Nicholas Hoult.
I could see that actually. That's actually not bad. You mean
Beast?
Beast from First Class. That works. That works really well, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Rainn Wilson. Dwight. That's what.
No. If we're talking X-Men, the person who plays is the guy who plays Xavier in First Class. I can't remember his name. James McAvoy plays Hush.
I could see that. That would actually work really well. Yeah, as a matter of fact.
And he still looks young enough to be in the similar age of Patterson. You know.
Yeah,
actually, that is solid. That's the first good casting you've had all night. Jeez.
Oh come on! I've had a few good ones. Come on.
I had one bad one, but to be fair, I do resist.
How does it feel, Jay Heat, to be removed from the stream for the first time?
Hey, this one I deserved. So
yeah. Now, yeah. So we got that. And that's assuming because I think these movies, if they're not going to be canceled, are going to be heavily delayed to make room for Ben Affleck Batman. Because I feel like right now the movies in the universe are going to get the priority. What's up, Nick?
I have the perfect pick for Jimmy Olsen in Man of Steel.
Who? Well, he's
the guy who plays Danny Lyon in The Witcher.
Well, there's only one problem with that.
He's a little too old.
There's a problem with that in this universe that they don't change in Flashpoint. What happened to PBS?
Yeah.
Well, honestly, that's such an obscure thing they can easily brush past it.
Well, they actually say his name is Jimmy Olsen.
Didn't they?
Well,
wasn't the secret agent just using his name as a cover? Isn't that why how they tried to? Spell
yeah. So that they just use his credentials. So okay.
They can kind of get around that. Let me put it this way: it would be a little weak, but that's the best way they can do that.
But as far as the actor is concerned, he could be the perfect age because he looks a little bit younger than Henry Cavill, and like personality wise, he could do Jimmy Olsen, and him and Henry Cavill already like have you seen the look. You do know that they paint miniatures in their houses together. Like that's what they like. Yeah. They're both Warhammer buddies.
At some point, it would be hilarious if somehow they can arrange it so Superman turns that Jimmy Olsen goes F off Bard. That would be hilarious. I know it would never happen, but that would be just so good.
Or what if it's revealed that like Jimmy plays guitar?
He's actually a bard. Whenever he cosplays as that character from The Witcher.
I gotta say, if this was a TV show, and they had that actor there, I would if I was a showrunner, I would write an episode to where they had to go to a Renaissance fair, and like
Henry
you basically had
Geralt.
or even if Superman's not even there,
Yeah.
but Jimmy is basically dressed as Dandelion, and the actress who's playing Lois is dressed as Yennefer, but it's not like the actress, you know.
Mhm.
How big of a middle finger would it be if they got Gina Carano? I don't know who she played.
Big Barda.
Big Barda. It's got to be Big Barda.
I think okay. I think we can find another role
because
for it.
they could pull a Superman the animated series and introduce more of the new gods in the Superman movie, like maybe
Okay.
3 or something like
Question
that.
for you: who plays Orion?
That's a good question.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Nah, not Leonardo DiCaprio.
Actually, yeah,
Bautista?
you could. Well,
Because
no,
it's got to be
well,
someone that's like intimidating that could actually kick someone's ass.
Leonardo DiCaprio could do that.
You could
Yeah,
always get a
he's-
stunt double for the fight scenes if it really
No,
came
but
down
he
to
doesn't
it.
scream Orion to me.
Well, Orion. The thing is, Orion's actually a bit
Yes.
skinnier. That's
Mhm.
why I'm saying it. Like Orion is not
Okay.
like freaking jacked a lot. And
Yeah.
also Batista, he's an okay actor at best. You know what I'm saying? Like someone like Orion, you really need a good actor.
No, but here's
No,
the
I
thing.
think David Babasta would make a good Calabac. Not
Ooh.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
That's better. I'll take that. That is way better. But
Okay,
DiCaprio
so-
is a big no.
So let's say we're gonna recast at Granny
And
Goodness
yes, Nate.
because.
Mhm.
So let's say we're gonna recast Granny Goodness because they want like an actual actor for that role. Who would you cast as Granny Goodness?
Joe from The Office. Remember Joe Bennett?
No, like which woman? I want a woman.
No,
No,
we're still-
she is the woman.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll show
See,
you. She looks like Granny Goodness.
I wish Betty White was still alive because I would like.
she
That's
would
a
have. She would
horrible
have nailed.
choice.
She could have done
'Cause-
it. Man. She could have done
Because
it.
here's the thing about that I see about Granny Goodness is she seems sweet, but she like just below the
She's
surface is like
terrifying.
Right there.
Okay.
Subtle sweetness.
oh Kathy Bates.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, she could play Granny Goodness.
Yeah, Kathy Bates. Yeah,
Have you ever seen the movie Lake Placid?
No.
Alan Richardson.
If you
Ooh.
see Lake Placid and you see Betty White in it, you will agree she could have done Granny Goodness amazing because she is such a sadistic person in that movie.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I could see her doing that. Who would play Mr. Miracle? Because we've cast Big Barda. Who would play Mr. Miracle? Nathan Fillion?
I like. Oh no! Wait, what? Who's playing Mr. Terrific?
Ooh, Nate. She would play a good Scandal Savage as well.
Oh,
Okay, who's playing Vandal Savage?
That's a good question.
that's a very good question.
That's Hugh Jackman because he's immortal.
Wait,
But
what
could he-
if Nathan
Ooh.
Fillion for Orion?
I could see that,
I could
and
see.
Liam Neeson as Vandal Savage.
I could see.
Okay,
that.
yeah, that's perfect.
But who would play High Father?
Ooh.
Anthony Hopkins?
Okay, that would be hilarious because he also plays Odin. That would be great.
I mean, he's perfect. He's perfect
He's
for the
good.
role.
I could see him as High Father. Are you kidding me?
From the All Father to the High Father.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got so we have Dark Side. We have Granny Goodness. We have
Big
Calabac.
Barda.
We
Would you,
have
keep
Big
the
Barda.
same would you keep the same actor for Desaad?
Yeah, I would say so. He's cool. I'm fine with that. Now let's cast the female Furies. Oh,
I don't know.
actually, not a bad pick.
You know the best part is? You know the best part is?
What?
She would probably do that for free. Like,
Yeah.
do you know how much of a freaking nerd
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis is?
Yeah, she would.
Like, she would be all over that. Like, I'm surprised she hasn't done a comic book property yet.
And by the way, I want if we get a Man of Steel trilogy, I want I want the world's finest movie, or at least one of them, to be Apocalypse.
Okay.
Just so I can
I
have. I agree with you, Nick. I want Affleck to face down Darkseid in that amazing. And
I want the speech.
I want to see.
I want the speech.
I want to
Yeah.
see the speech.
And I want Gal Gadot and Gina Carano fighting the female Furies. How badass would that be?
Also, can we agree Jason Todd is slash Red Hood is played by Jensen Ackles?
Oh yeah,
Has
sure.
to be. Has to be.
That's like Nick, you don't have to keep bringing that up because it's all self-settled. By the way,
It's perfect.
I have a great idea for an Elseworlds movie.
Okay.
All right, and this is an idea that I've actually seen people write fanfics of, and I've thought about how I would do this. Okay, so it's basically a Wonder Woman story,
Okay.
but instead of being trained by the Amazon, she's kidnapped by Darkseid and turned into a female Fury.
Hmm.
Because if you read the comics, actually, Darkseid has expressed interest in turning Diana into a female Fury and replacing Barda with her. In fact, in Apocalypse, they reference that, and in Justice League Last Ride.
Also, Rip Hunter is played by David Tennant.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
It will never happen, but one can dream.
And Constantine has to be the CW actor because he's proven that he can play Constantine in any medium.
Matt Ryan's the perfect Constantine.
Haven't they already announced that they're doing another Constantine movie?
Yeah, I know it's Keanu Reeves, which I'm fine with that, but I'm like, if I were in charge of that, I would put that as an Elseworlds, and then just Matt Smith has to be the Constantine.
I really feel like any new movies they make going forward are all going to be in the same universe. Like they're doing Riddler 2, Joker 2, just because the first one made so much money. But I don't think they're going to do any Elseworlds movie going forward. They're just going to be one universe. And so if they do a Constantine 2, it's going to be within the Snyderverse.
Yeah, I know. I was just, it was just an idea that I had, or at least a comic book. I'm surprised no one's done an Elseworld story where she becomes a Fury.
Because you were basically a big bar to stand in.
I mean, who wouldn't want Keanu Reeves as part of their comic book universe?
True. And he makes reference to like Berserker and John Wick throughout the entire movie.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair,
true.
No one blame him.
To be fair, there's a ton of Matrix references in the John Wick series.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
and
literally in Parabellum, he literally says guns, lots of guns.
Yeah, exactly. That's my favorite line from that. But anyway,
I mean, also like actors from the Matrix show up. It's like
what you could do, Jay. You could set this comic book after Barter defects. So in other words, we have it so she essentially leaves when Diana's a kid to a place. They get an Amazon. They figure the princess would be the best. And then they just train her and then send her out. And then eventually she turns good at the end and becomes the Wonder Woman because eventually all these Elseworld stories turn into the regular continuity, essentially.
To an extent.
Here's my idea. What if Big Barda leaves and somehow she ends up on Themyscira and Big Barda gets trained in as an Amazon and eventually becomes the emissary. She becomes it's a trading places basically.
Okay. That would be interesting.
Basically, Diana becomes a Big Barda, and then Big Barda becomes Wonder Woman.
But how would Diana get to Apocalypse? Would Darkseid
be kidnapped as a kid?
Okay.
Or actually, what if there was a peace treaty and they had to exchange children? Because that happened in between Apocalypse and New Genesis.
Dude, except in this universe, it's between Apocalypse and Themyscira. Nice one. I would so read that book.
Young Justice did something similar.
Yes. Thank you, Nate's memes.
Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nate. You just helped me out.
My only request is they make reference to Misery.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of Catwoman, I'm totally fine with who Zach was going to cast as Catwoman. She's fine.
Perfect.
She's
perfect.
Yeah, I know. And she's around Affleck's age, so it works. There's no bad cess in this case. By the way, I thought about something. I was talking to a friend of mine that's like into DC as much as I am. Did you know that in Justice League, the cartoon, Wonder Woman's around 18 years old?
What?
If you look at the timeline, she's 18 years old, and that makes Wonder Bat that much creepier.
That doesn't make sense because like the way they play her, it's like she's in her 30s.
Well, that's what. You can match it up to the fact that Wonder Woman's just mature, but actually Watchtower Database did a video on this and they calculated the timeline that say based on the timeline Wonder Woman would have to be around 18 years old.
That's some hack shit. I'm sorry. That it just is
No.
no.
I'll tell you what.
Because the Amazons are as far back as the Olympic Greece period. She would at least be a couple centuries old.
Like, why would she be born 18 years ago? Like, literally all the stories, she's like almost an immortal being. It makes no sense.
Now, her leaving the island right around the time of Justice League, that makes sense. But I know you and Snyder Queen had this rivalry, but I think you're grasping at straws on this one.
I don't know. It's been calculated. I'll try and find the article and I'll put it in our
Please,
group
I
chat.
would love to read it, but
then again,
to be fair, a lot of those videos they use very shaky logic to convince this stuff, and a lot of these, like, here's the problem with a lot of these YouTube theory channels. They do these theories for entertainment, and they basically start with an idea and then they create a theory to support it. It's not a theory that comes to a conclusion. A lot of these places, they start with an idea and then they grab anything they can. So
then again,
any YouTube channel that does a theory, like, unless it's like freaking rock solid, I just no.
This is also the channel that tried to that did a convincing video, convinced me that Batcest is okay. Not that, Nick. Not that it's like
Jared,
there's a story reason for it, but it's actually an acceptable relationship.
How?
Because they're both consenting adults. That's their logic.
I mean, that's pretty much
minimum for any relationship.
That goes for any relationship. Yeah, and plus, it's just the age difference just makes it too creepy.
And in
to
dialogue,
be fair,
on screen, Bruce acknowledged Barbara when she was a minor. This isn't even in terms of being Batman. He was interacting with Barbara when she was 17.
May I also note, Batman didn't come on to her. It was Barbara when she was already after 18. So there is no. Well, you got an attractive woman on top of you that's over 18. I mean, come on. I'd charge you.
Okay,
with, you know,
it's no P word related. I'll give you that.
It's no P.
There's no grooming. There is
like
you can't really call him a pedophile because she's over 18. You can't really say he groomed her. I mean, he groomed. Some say some stuff he groomed her to be Batgirl, but that's an entirely different issue.
I'm not saying it's like illegal. It's creepy as hell, and it's not really good.
That you factor Nightwing, it's a sleazy thing to do.
But here's my okay. I guess we're having this conversation.
No, we've had this many times. Oh, by the way, Nate's memes agrees with us. Thank you, Nate.
Wait, Jared.
So let's frame this conversation. Let's take it in the Batman Beyond universe, because that one has more detail on it. We're doing Killing Joke. That's just literally one movie. There's more like evidence we can grab from Batman Beyond universe. You know, okay. In that universe, it is portrayed that it was a bad idea, that it was a bad decision. Like the narrative says it was a bad decision. Bruce acknowledges that as a bad decision. Like in that storyline, they're not glorifying that relationship. They acknowledge it as a mistake that drove them apart.
And yes, Nick, I acknowledge that, but it was a bad decision that shouldn't have been even portrayed on the thing, because it paints Batman in a very bad light, and that's out of character for Batman. He would in no way do that.
And if you had to go off the old tie-in comics, Barbara was pregnant with Bruce's child, but had a miscarriage during a mugging.
Yeah, he absolutely. Batman would never ever do that, because first off, and this is my problem with the DCAU and why it's actually not accurate to Batman's character, because Batman would never Batman is not the type to get into a relationship with anyone, because his number one priority.
That's your interpretation of Batman.
Actually, no. Hang on, I'll show you the article.
Here's the thing. There are many different versions of Batman. In some versions of Batman, he has a no-kill rule. In some versions of Batman, he has a no-guns rule. In some versions, he kills. Some versions, he has guns. In some versions, he's a really big jerk. And some of them, he's nice. Okay, there are different variations of Batman. Your version is valid. My version of that is valid. Jay Heat's version is valid. Okay.
No, I know that
your version of your opinion on the Batcest is perfectly valid. Okay, I'm going to say that right now.
All I'm saying, Nick, is that there are people that treat that version of Batman as the most comic accurate Batman we've ever gotten, and that's very wrong for that reason.
No, there is
Let's
no
hope
comic.
that-
There is no comic accurate version of any character. Not even the
True.
comics are comic accurate to a character because characters evolve over time. Like you really think that Batman, like the most if you wanted to be comic accurate, you'd have to be accurate to 1938, the original iteration. Even
And-
that version evolved over time.
One more
And
thing.
let's just cement a compromise. Let's just say Bat Sass was just a one-night stand that both parties ultimately regretted.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that.
I mean, that's pretty much
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
But my problem, Nick, the only reason why I bring this up is because when you talk to people in the Wonder Bat fandom that actually try to give evidence of why it works in the comics, they point to that cartoon. That's because they try and link those two. And I'm like, you can't, because that's a different version of Batman. That's not the comics Batman.
See, it's like even the comics accurate version isn't accurate. That's my problem. Is the people have like this the thing is people have this vision of like what a character is, and the thing is it varies from person to person. Like you say, one person says Batman kills, one person say Batman doesn't, one person say Batman doesn't use guns, other person say it's perfectly okay. Everyone is valid. Everyone has these characters are almost 100 years old. Okay,
no, I know that.
1938. And
Okay,
like,
let's avoid the
But
characterization angle because it's just going to send us on a point.
I'm just going to say one more thing. They're using it for the modern, for the current iteration of Batman. That's what I'm saying. They're trying to link the cartoon Batman from the 90s to the Batman that's published now. The Wonder Bat fandom. They say that Batman and Wonder Woman works in the comics now because of the evidence shown up in that cartoon. So I'm like,
here's the thing. That is people theorizing, okay?
Yeah.
This is the fandom theorizing. It has no effect on actual canon, which canon is a very loose
DC. What's canon? Omniverse.
You know,
I will say there's only one Wonder Bat that exists, and that's deceased Damian and Cassie because of those specific circumstances. And we'll just
that works.
Here's kind of the problem that like you kind of run into, Jared, is shipping as a like fandom is a very passionate fandom, and that's basically what you shouldn't really engage in the shippers unless you're much doing it for fun, because shippers are very passionate about their ships, and trying to like say their ship is wrong. It's what's the George Carlin okay, this is gonna piss off the shippers, but it's the best way I can put it. Never argue with an idiot because they'll bring you down to their level and beat you with experience.
Yeah, true.
And
so that now I just pissed off all shippers.
Yeah.
And case in point, when Apocalypse War came out, there was like Twitter, Instagram. It was just like a slooge of Damian X Raven versus Beast Boy X Raven, like months on end. And I'm just like, why are people even talking about this?
My problem is when people, because Nick and I had a debate with someone that basically said that canon doesn't matter if you're shipping, and I'm like, then how do you know these characters would work together?
That's because shipping is more of a fun discussion. They're not trying to sure they try to make stuff canon. I mean, to be honest, I don't pretend to know everything about shippers. I just I have some knowledge.
Most shipping can be solved with fan fiction. Excuse me.
I mean, actually, can you say it for the people in the back rows?
Oh yeah, yes, thank you. Most shipping can be solved with fan fiction.
Yeah, make your own. My problem also is that here's the thing. It's like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy actually what started off as a ship that eventually became a full thing at DC. In other words, it starts to affect DC.
My thing is, if you like a ship,
chance.
True, true.
I mean, there are plenty of ships that get canon in shows, but if you like a ship, cool. If you don't like a ship, whatever. My thing is, engage in the ships you like, and engage in those communities. Don't try to tear down other people's ships. Like for example, Snyder Queen is a Wonder Bat person, and Jared is Super Wonder. Okay, both of them are valid. I mean, honestly, at this point, I just tease Jared with Wonder Bat. That's just how I tease him. It's more of a fun kind of thing.
One thing, since you said her name, there you go. That's for you, Wonder Bat. But yeah, I see what you're saying, Nick. But my then again, it seems kind of contradictory because how do you know these characters work if you're not using canon? How are you basing this? Yeah, exactly. There's no logical. There's no logic.
And that's kind of that's the point. You're not supposed to engage in it with the logic. It's supposed to be engaged with emotion.
And we all know that's the proper way to debate anything.
And that's the thing. Don't bother debating. If you want to do it in fun,
is bad. Try anime and manga.
Oh yeah,
here's
the thing.
Okay,
here's the thing. If you wanted to do a shipping debate in fun, like the Wonder Bat Super Wonder,
we'll do it on a stream.
We do it for fun. It's a fun thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not meant to be serious. It's more just like friends teasing each other. That's how I see it. But like,
yeah,
anything beyond that is pointless. Okay, like trying to convince someone else is a fool's errand. And let them have their fun. Let you have your fun. If you don't agree with the ship, just don't engage with it. Just don't look. Like, mute if you have to. Do what you got to do. You know.
No, my problem is that I have a situation where I say, okay, so they'll say, okay, so Wonder Bat. I'll just go. Why? You give me a reason why, and then
that was your first problem.
No, yeah,
that was your problem.
They'll try and link canon, and I'm like, no. Oh, so Dave the Imperialist says it's really annoying when fans expect fan fiction to become canon and throw a fit when it doesn't. They encountered this when Supergirl ended because they wanted Kara and Lana Luthor to end up together.
Well, to be fair, CW is full of melodramatic teenage sleaze. So
my opinion is there's nothing wrong with wanting your ship to become canon. The part where I agree with David is throwing a fit when it doesn't. Yeah. You know? Like there's nothing wrong with wanting your ship to be canon, like campaigning for it in good faith, you know, like running a campaign to convince them to make a ship canon. I don't got no problem with it as long as it's done in good faith and you're not trying to tear people down. And if the ship thinks, sure, you can be upset. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to use terminology from the fandom. And
again, Wattpad.com. fanfiction.net, Tumblr, Reddit,
AO3.
I have a friend of mine who's going to come on the channel eventually, who's Super Wonder, who writes on fanfiction.com, and she actually has, guess what? She uses actual logic.
Okay.
Because she sent me an 800-page document of all the Super Wonder stuff from all of canon.
You know what you need to do? You need to have an actual, reasonable Wonder Bat person come on the show and actually have a debate. Like, that would,
I did.
In good...
Who?
You did?
This is before you guys came on. So, and this is actually before my channel blew up. So, I actually debated two at the same time. It was two of my buddies, Lad, my co-host, and this other friend of mine, and we had a debate on it. And I said... Elseworlds, yeah, it works because with Elseworlds, you can change the canon, change the characters however you need to. In canon, it won't work.
Okay, that's fair.
So basically, Elseworlds, Batman is banging Hippolyta.
I mean, it depends on what. No, I'm saying the rules can be
changed. Your face.
Well, you're a Bat-cess person, so
I never said I was Bat-cess. I just feel like the reaction to it is a little bit over dramatic and overblown.
Okay, that was my fault. But my point is that you can change with Elseworlds. You can change the canon, change the time period.
Used for that joke.
If anyone you could have used for that joke, but by the way, Batman Hippolyta. There is ones that
was. I mean, it got the reaction I wanted. That was purely for shock value, and it got me exactly the reaction I desired.
In that case. Just kidding. But anyway, but yeah, my point is we actually had a debate. What?
We're even.
What?
Nick and I are even.
Well, to be fair, the amount of times I've been kicked off, you gotta bump your numbers up, brother.
You got quite a ways to go, brother. But yeah, that's my point. Is that also a lot of people actually, it's kind of funny. I encountered this when I debate non-Snyder people because they'll bring up Batman doesn't kill. My favorite interaction, by the way, is when I was debating with someone that says Batman doesn't use guns, and Nick brought in 8 examples saying, "Behold, Batman using guns."
No. If you're gonna do it right. I said, for all the people who think Batman doesn't use guns, I present to you Batman using guns.
Yeah, and then they'll bring up like in the Dark Knight Returns when he like said guns are the weapons of our cowards, and I brought up that's at the end of an arc. The Affleck Batman and Batman versus Superman. We were never supposed to see that as the definitive Batman. That's the hopes all lost Batman. Justice League, and by Justice League, I think you know which version I'm talking about, was the more hopeful Batman.
Oh, you mean like the only version that exists?
Yeah, I say hopeful because is Batman really all that hopeful all the time? I mean, he tries to, but it's Batman.
He is for the Robins, even the bastard that he secretly hates.
Yeah. By the way, I just had this idea. Here's a Batman villain I want Snyder to do. Bane. Except do a comic accurate Bane, not the Tom Hardy Bane.
Dave Bautista plays Bane.
Yes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's who he'd cast because, for one, they worked together on Army of the Dead.
And Bautista wants to play Bane, so someone asked him who we want to play.
And he Black Adam. I could argue Dwayne The Rock if he wasn't already.
No, Bane is not big. Bane is not a big enough character. I think Dave Bautista would actually be a really good actor for Bane. Like I think he could really do the role pretty well.
He would, and then you could do. Or who would play John Paul Valley?
Azrael's one hell of a cast.
Yeah, I know.
Robert Pattinson.
Or Joaquin
Phoenix.
Like, no,
because he can do all those different personalities.
I would say Leonardo DiCaprio. He's got the look for it.
No, Robert Pattinson.
Why?
Well, for one, acting-wise, he could do the role. And looks-wise, he'd be perfect. Also, just the whole meta-ness of it.
True. I guess. I would love to see, like, a Batman, like, into the Batverse where Ben Affleck shows up and beats the crap out of Pattinson, because he so would.
I just want to see a multiverse movie where they have like a council of Batman, and if you have like they bring back all the actors, and you even have Val Kilmer sitting there, even if he doesn't talk, he's just sitting there. Like, imagine it's like Michael Keaton, Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
By the way, George Clooney's even there.
No, Dave brings up a good point. Realistically, any version of Batman has killed many, many, many people.
Thousands.
If you're throwing razor sharp batarangs at people, that's gonna kill someone.
Batman has killed dozens of people, literally dozens.
Yeah, he has killed people. He's not gonna go out to kill someone. It's mainly gonna be like an accident. Like he doesn't mean to kill them, but it's gonna happen.
At the very least, he's not gonna kill a guy with glasses.
Basically, the collateral damage argument.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, come on, tell me nobody picked up on that one.
Oh, we did.
It's like with Superman. Superman does not have a no-kill rule. He just uses it as the extreme last resort. Because he has killed Zod many times in the comics. Many times.
And speaking of Superman comics, if you actually take the comics into context, Superman's fall doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
So speaking of Superman,
yeah.
The person I want to play Brainiac is the guy who played Tywin Lannister in Game of Thrones.
Oh,
that could actually work really well. But anyway,
I mean, you got to admit his voice would be.
He could do it.
And Jay Heat, I actually agree with you on this one. That in Injustice, the fall doesn't make that much sense because when you look at what triggered it, and see, here's the thing: they have to establish if Superman had a different upbringing because it's like.
They insinuate he wasn't as emotionally stable because he didn't have Luthor as a nemesis. One, that's a meta argument. And two, that doesn't change anything. Superman would lament and lash out from the death of Lois and her unborn child, but he wouldn't go full-fledged regime within the span of a year and a half.
No, if anything,
wasn't it like also not just Lois, but also the nuking Metropolis?
Yeah, but still, it wouldn't necessarily put him. Let me put it this way: he would totally kill the Joker at that point. I don't think he would go regime. Like, let me put it this way: they would have to establish some change to his origin story, like they did with Wonder Woman.
My argument for the Joker was. So here's the thing: when he killed Zod, he was morally justified in doing so. Like literally, there was like, but when he kills the Joker, it's in cold blood. It is bloodthirsty. It is like he had he could like there's so many other things. He could have broken his legs. He could have like torn. He could have torn all his limbs off if he really wanted to. But he made the choice to kill him in the most brutal fashion possible. That messes with your head. Okay?
There is one point though. There's one small point is that after nuking an entire place, actually detonating a tactical nuke at that point, I think he's justified in killing at least the Joker. It's not really cold blood.
But that's not who Superman is. Superman avoids killing someone at all costs. If we're going by who Superman is, like you're the one who brought that up, okay?
Hmm?
Superman would not kill if he could help it. He couldn't help but kill Zod. We're talking Man of Steel here.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm saying it would be the extreme, like, last resort.
But he wouldn't kill. But killing the Joker in this situation is a choice.
Yes.
But the thing is, killing he wouldn't. He's choosing to kill the Joker. He had no choice but to kill Zod. Okay.
True. That's kind of what it is. But yeah. Go ahead.
And so it's like there's so many things he could like literally he could have even just tearing the limbs off of the Joker, like tearing the arms, like that's brutal, but it's still not killing him. It's like you could make a moral justification for that.
Or Phantom Zone.
That too, like there's like freezing him, like literally even freezing him in a block of ice. Like there are like so many different choices he could have made. You know, he could have picked him up and dropped him off on Sentinel Island.
That's why what they should have done, which they might have done in the Injustice prequel, but what they should have done is establish that maybe he was thinking about like how the world doesn't like work right, and how, in other words, he sort of had the ideology for the regime like in the back of his head, but this brought it to the forefront. As far as I know, they never really did that.
I mean, because here's the thing: they always say the first murder is the hardest. All the rest of them get easier from there. And that's basically the argument that I'm making, is he chose to murder the Joker. He chose to get like even Batman in his worst doesn't kill in cold blood like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I will say this: Gotham, as fictional a city as it is technically based in New Jersey, where the death penalty is no longer apparent. So unless it was severe circumstances like threatening to nuke a city, Joker would never get the death penalty, death row in any scenario, regardless of whether he breaks out of Arkham or not.
See, here's the biggest problem with DC is Argus literally has, like, and this is continuity, Argus has prisons for the worst people. Someone like the Joker should literally be in like the Black Adam prison. You know,
or Suicide Squad, but okay.
No, you cannot control the Joker. They've tried.
Well, honestly, if you want a reason to blow the Joker's head off, that would be a great way to explain it. But like literally, you just put him into a hole, freeze him, put him in suspended animation, and you just throw away the key. That is real. Like that they have that capability in the main continuity. And the fact that they don't use it, I don't understand why.
Yeah, it's just
Joker's too popular.
Or just throw them.
Well, yeah, that's the meta reason.
Just throw everyone in the Phantom Zone. You can't get out of the Phantom Zone unless someone lets you out.
I think there's been storylines where people have escaped from the Phantom Zone.
Well, actually, in the Doomsday, in the new 52, Zod found a way out of the Phantom Zone and let Doomsday out.
Yeah, but he had to pull Superboy Prime and break the dimensional barrier to do that.
Yeah. In other words, it's significantly harder for someone without superpowers to get out of the Phantom Zone unless they're let out somehow.
Yeah, Phantom Zone's an option, but like what I'm saying is even short of that, like why can't like I'm not saying like, I mean, obviously Joker deserves the death penalty. You know, I mean, it's
some of them do deserve the death penalty.
But like, even if Joker doesn't get the death penalty, you can make a very strong argument for Amanda Waller literally scooping the Joker up. Which, I mean, come on, Amanda Waller, if she wanted to, she could find the Joker, literally put a tranq dart in him, and then put him in hibernation sleep somewhere. Like, put him in a black site, never hear from him again. You know.
I have always maintained, by the way, going back to Injustice, that you know who's the villain of Injustice? It's not Superman. It's Batman. Here's why.
Okay.
Here's why. Because it was theorized in the book that one of the reasons why Superman went so evil is because Bruce turned his back on him after he killed the Joker. Had Bruce at least been more understanding and less cold toward Clark and saying, "Hey, listen, man, I know what you're going through, dude. It's not the way I will help you through this." I don't think Superman would have gone full regime.
To an extent.
And yes, I did like that, and I saw that coming from like as soon as Connor was in that area that looked like the Phantom Zone. I was like, okay, it's the Phantom Zone.
I will give you that worked to an extent, but you still had villain Wonder Woman as a poison and vexing in Clark's ear.
Yes, but I'm saying it would have been harder because you wouldn't have had just Wonder Woman going in Clark's ear. You would have had like an angel and a demon on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And
honestly, you would have had an Amazon and a bat on his shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, I think that he would be more inclined to listen to Batman at this point.
And not to mention, Injustice Batman was just a straight up a-hole. Not even in terms of the whole.
What he did to Damian after he obviously accidentally killed Nightwing in the most lame way possible.
He struck him in the temple, and then he cracks his neck on a piece of debris. First of all, Nightwing is more than enough experienced enough to actually maneuver out of the way. Second, muscle memory. Third, he's a childhood acrobat. Even if Damian did lash out in an act of pure angst, Nightwing could have deflected with his baton or just dodged it in general.
To be fair, Dick was distracted in that moment. Because, like, in the storyline, the reason that Damian does that is because that's, like, in their training stuff. It's like he throws it and Dick catches it. He threw that because every time Damian lost, he'd throw the baton and Dick would catch it. It's kind of like a joke kind of thing. It's like a running joke kind of thing. And, like, Damian lost and he threw it. He thought Dick would catch it, but like Dick was
he wasn't paying attention.
I agree it's stupid, but like storyline wise, it makes sense.
There.
I understand that it's a weak ass storyline reason for killing Nightwing.
And it all tied back to a
weak as in that's how you kill Nightwing, but as far as like narrative and like logic, the setup like it makes sense.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean it's a good plot point.
But and that's why I say that Batman is the villain of Injustice, because you have any idea how many people he's driven toward evil in that storyline? Rami Batfleck says, does Snyder return in Man of Steel 2 but team up on project with James Gunn on Justice League sequels count as Restore the Snyderverse?
I think James Gunn has said that he's only really going to be directing certain projects like the rated R ones, like a Suicide Squad or anything PG-13, which would be like a Batman or a Joker project. He's going to leave to other people.
And
like,
in other words,
have input, but like
Gunn has been clear that he doesn't want to do the A-list characters. If he does a project, he wants to do it on the lesser known characters because that's where he excels at. Because you can do whatever the hell you want. So it really
also Snyder. I mean, not Snyder, but Gunn has proven to have really good sensibilities when it comes to good comic book stories. Expect like I don't like Peacemaker because the dialogue is atrocious, but like a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy, really good movie. Like Scooby-Doo, I still feel is a good movie.
2 is really good.
The first one is the best one. I feel like he does have a good eye and sensibilities for like what a good story makes. His problem is he lets himself get carried away with his own, stuff.
And here's the thing, Raimi. Yeah, I understand that. Yes, he does kind of have the final say, but he also has Zaslav watching him, and Zaslav is all about damage control for the DC brand. He's all about protecting the brand. He's not going to let. He's not going to let
Gunn do too much.
Yeah, and plus Gunn has been very, very clear. If you look at his statements, that he wants diverse opinions and diverse approaches to storylines, and this goes
also
back years and years and years.
Here's the difference, okay? Disney's studios are pretty much run autonomously. Like Marvel Studios is run by Kevin Feige. Lucasfilm is run by She Who Must Not Be Named, which also inspired a character in Screecher. I had to find a way to get her in here somehow. But like, and that's kind of the problem with Disney is like with even though the buck stops with Bob Chapek doesn't really have much direct involvement with the studio heads, what they do, versus Zaslav has direct involvement. Like, sure, like James Gunn may be running the day-to-day operations, but all of like the major choices run through David Zaslav. David Zaslav is directly involved in the decision making with DC. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's the difference between Disney and Warner Brothers, where if this was Disney, James Gunn would pretty much have carte blanche to do whatever he wanted to. But that's not the case here. Zaslav is at the head, and James Gunn, while James Gunn has a lot of autonomy and has a lot of freedom, he ultimately still reports to a very active Zaslav.
And once again, James Gunn has, going back years and years and years and years and years, has said that you can't have one tone dominating every single project, because guess what? That gets very stale. And from a storytelling perspective, you have to allow, particularly when you're dealing with like multiple superheroes that have different tones, you have to allow for all these different types.
And if you look at the early MCU, they had wildly different tones. Like,
yes.
Sure, by about phase 3, it got kind of homogenous to where now they just have one single tone for all MCU films. But if you look at the phase 1 and the phase 2 films,
very different.
They are like, especially phase 1, like going from Iron Man to Thor to Captain America,
the
Hulk. They are wildly different films. Phase 2, they're starting to get a little homogenized, but still, like, we're pretty different. But like, yeah,
Yeah, he's not going to go. Everyone thinks he's going to turn DC into all Peacemaker. That's not going to happen. Anyone telling you that is I wouldn't count on their logical thinking ability.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We're probably going to see more stuff like Peacemaker.
And he's going to essentially have a producing credit on everything that's part of the deal.
Like, don't be surprised if Harley Quinn gets an HBO Max series and James Gunn makes it. Like, I think that's probably the highest profile property that James Gunn might touch is Harley Quinn.
Oh, Harley Quinn will 100% get at least something.
The animated series, because you technically have two shows with the same IP at the same time.
No. But one is live action and one is animated.
That's the difference.
They can coexist.
That's the difference. If it's it's different if it's a different like medium.
Because it's very obvious. Like, one's an animated series where Kaylee Cuoco voices it, and one is live action. And plus, this version of Harley Quinn, the live action version, is already well established. Like, people know her. It's like, oh, there's Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Arguably,
and there's the
same with the animated version, because that animated show was going gangbusters. It's so good. Yeah. Werewolf by Night was the only good thing produced by Marvel in the past 2 years. Really? And apparently that's because the director was given more autonomy. The higher ups at Disney didn't care about it. Hey,
some projects it works, sometimes some it don't.
But my whole thing is that you have nothing to worry about at all of DC, because you're not going to have Superman making infantile humor. That's not going to happen. You know how I know Henry Cavill's not going to let that happen.
So
it's not going to let that happen.
You know what? I'll be the one to say
my stance is wait and see. Like, I'm hopeful that it's going to happen. There's a lot, like, there's basically evidence to go either way. It's kind of leaning in like the right direction. But the people who bring up some of James Gunn's bad stuff, like some of his like pedophilic stuff in the past, and like the bad stuff he's done in the past, and then,
what I'm talking about is
no. Please let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I'm saying is there is a lot of valid stuff to criticize him for, but there's more good than bad. So I'm choosing to adopt a wait and see approach. That's my stance.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, in terms of his ability to manage like DC, there's nothing to worry about, because here's the thing: it won't. If anything, I disagree. It won't be like a lot of D tier characters getting attention yet, unless it's a James Gunn project. That's it. Unless it's a James Gunn project, it's not going to. In other words, he's not going to tell like Zack Snyder to make a show on like Scandal Savage. That'd be really cool though. But it's going to be Zach's choice what projects he wants to do when he comes back, or like Ben Affleck, because I guarantee you, I do think that Ben Affleck's going to get a movie, and I wouldn't be surprised if after the Batman movie, Deathstroke gets at least a movie or a series, because there was one planned.
So
And-
I just kind of had an idea.
What?
So what if like Affleck gets the movies, but they basically push Patterson to HBO Max?
They could do that. That would
Yeah.
work.
To where either they do a Batman miniseries or a Batman movie, but it's an HBO Max exclusive.
But
And
would
basically
Matt
they
Reeves
make-
go for that.
They would say.
I mean, he might not have no choice.
True.
they would save with the box office.
That's true. And what's kind of funny is that the Batman did not make as much as like Batman versus Superman when you look at its domestic
Numbers.
stuff.
I mean, it was
Yeah,
pretty, it was a good movie, but pure
It was a
numbers.
good movie. Yeah, I'm not saying in any way that it was a bad movie because
Yeah, we're
it's
talking
one of
pure
my
numbers.
favorite Batman movies.
Also,
I'm comparing
to-
numbers.
To address what Dave said, yes, I agree with him completely.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're gonna say. You don't have to like his humor. I do not like it. That's one of the reasons why I don't like a lot of his like free reign stuff. Oh, I feel like the DC is no, it's heading more toward the Snyderverse. It's not gonna be the Gunverse because what you have to realize is that Gunn is likely not going to get anything, lots of chances to direct.
He might
Number
direct
one.
the event movies. He might, but even then,
I don't think Gunn's gonna direct.
No,
'cause-
he's not going to direct anything that features a tier character.
Okay.
The reason he likes the D-list characters is because he can basically do whatever he wants with them, and he can kind of mold them to what he wants, and he has more freedom with them. And I totally get it. I totally get that.
Hamada was pressuring him to take over Superman, and he said multiple times, no. But here's the thing. If anything, we're going more toward the Snyderverse because it seems like, number one, the Snyder cut is canon. Number two, they're bringing back Zack's versions of the characters. And number three, in all likelihood, they're going to continue his arc, but adapt it, in other words.
They're basically
Yeah.
using the Snyderverse as a foundation. They're never going to openly admit it's canon because they don't want to risk pissing off Twitter. I'll be.
Oh, they're gonna admit it. They're gonna admit it. They're gonna have to admit it's canon at some point because, like, if they're gonna bring in Zack Snyder, they're gonna have to admit it's canon.
And if they start referencing like Steppenwolf not having a head, yeah, they're gonna have to eventually say, okay, the Snyder cut is canon.
I mean, the best way it could happen is if a picture of Steppenwolf is shown on screen and it's the Snyder cut version, that is a smoking gun.
Yeah, he's just green lighting. Yeah, exactly. Hey Nick, that's some gun control, if I may say so myself. And by the way, Raimi, yeah, he's mainly in charge of green lighting projects and like just steering it and making sure that like these projects are telling a cohesive story down the line.
Zaslav will still have final say.
Yeah, and by the way, no matter what anyone tells you, Henry Cavill was pro Snyder Cut. There's this weird thing going around Twitter that he was against the Snyder Cut. No, he was not.
Then why was Henry Cavill literally used for the announcement of the Snyder Cut?
And there was a tweet afterwards. He even tweeted afterwards congratulating Zack. And by the way, he can't be he can't be against Snyder Cut because that's what redeemed his Superman. He wouldn't be back as Superman had we not gotten the Snyder Cut and shown people, oh yeah, he can actually do it. And by the way,
here's the thing.
Yes.
Yes. Also,
A noir
yes, Dave,
detective series. That's the question. Yes.
But
Vic
which
Sage.
question? I
Vic
keep
Sage.
saying that.
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
actually-
go ahead.
Matt. What if it's Matt Smith as a question,
Okay.
or David Tennant, or Matt Smith or
Actually,
David Tennant?
When you think about it, they could connect it to the Reeves verse.
Where are you going with this, Jared?
No, because I'm saying if you look at the question as a character, both versions, they do for the most part seem like they fit in
Yes,
the Batman
yeah,
universe.
Because it's earlier in the timeline and it's a very detective noir aesthetic. Yeah, I get what. Okay.
Yeah,
I just want
That's
more
what I'm
Doctor Who actors in the DC universe. Like, we got Peter Capaldi in Suicide Squad. That's pretty cool.
And he
I
died.
just want more. He'll regenerate.
No, he won't. He was torn apart by Star. He doesn't have those are not his powers.
He's going to regenerate into Jodie Whittaker and have a really bad run as Doctor Who, and he's going to make an episode that literally breaks the fandom in half.
Yeah.
And then, in a desperate attempt, when Jodie Whittaker regenerates, she's going to, spoiler alert, turn back into David Tennant in a desperate plea to get back people.
It's probably not
I
gonna
heard
work.
that the new actor playing Doctor Who. Okay. I forget his name, but he's
It's a Time Lord. I mean, honestly, like here's the thing. I'm kind of a casual Doctor Who fan, but like the Doctor turning from male to female, I really don't have really that big of an issue with because like it's regeneration. They built it up and like honestly, the Doctor changing skin color, I don't care.
I don't either. I'm just making that fact because I can't remember the actor's name.
It's the same reason why I don't care if they cast a black actor as Bond. Bond needs to be he has two requirements: British and male. You know, like if you cast Idris Elba 10 years ago as Bond, I would have been happy
with that because I've long said if they want to do a black Bond, he's my choice. And by the way, Raimi has a good thing. I can imagine Gunn, Snyder, Jenkins, Wan, and The Rock in the same room with a whiteboard planning something for the Justice League sequels, unless they take the backbone and sprinkle in. Yeah, that's in all likelihood what's going to happen.
As long as the donuts have red, white, and blue sprinkles, I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing I will say about Doctor Who is pretty much the season itself and Jordan Whittaker's performance. She is just not even in terms of canon. It's just the delivery was just obnoxious.
Jodie Whittaker did the best she can. Like I got no problem with the actress. I think she did a fine enough job. Chris Chibnall is the villain of that story.
Okay,
I see you, Jared.
Yeah, this is really off topic, guys. Just saying. I can't always give you guys time to talk about Cobra Kai, and by the way, I lost viewers on that part. So anyway, yeah. In all likelihood, this is what it's going to look like. You're going to have all the top creatives in a room planning out what the DCEU is going to look like. And yes, I think honestly it's too little too late. And I can't believe you have the chat talk about Doctor Who now.
Yeah, not even Russell T. Davies can save
this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they might as well.
That is the end of that discussion because otherwise Jared will literally bite our heads off.
I know. So before we log off, actually, I have a question for you guys. What would you want? We talked about Superman and in terms of Superman trilogy, a Batman trilogy. What would you want for the third Wonder Woman movie to be?
There's not too many villains we could use. We could use maybe
Cersei.
Cersei, okay, played by
Lena Henley.
Game of Thrones. Yeah, I honestly, even though I know it's a Game of Thrones joke, but it would actually work really well.
So was Astora a villain in Wonder Woman?
Who's Astora?
Astoria,
Astoria. No, she wasn't.
Because like. I want to see the next Wonder Woman movie because I really hope that cameo.
Okay, I got it.
Because you remember who played Astoria was literally Linda Carter.
Yeah, I know.
I want to see her in Wonder Woman as an actual character. I want to see her meet.
She'll be a character, but they're not going to be a villain.
I can actually I can see something more God of War as where you have Wonder Woman versus the Titans.
Ooh, and by the way, Wonder Woman versus Grail, Darkseid's daughter.
What about Helios?
No, but here's the thing. It's in all likelihood they could go Grail because Grail is a newer character that's pretty much established in the Wonder Woman lore right now.
Is Hermes a part of the Wonder Woman lore?
They're not going to bring in the gods. All the gods got killed. They brought that up in the first Wonder Woman movie. Ares killed all the gods, not the Titans. They could do the Titans, but I feel like
Titans.
No, not those Titans. But I feel like they're Nick. Stop. But I feel like eventually, they're going to go a little bit farther away from the mythological lore, even though they shouldn't. It's Wonder Woman.
Okay, but, you know who's going to play Hades? James Woods. I broke you guys. It's
going to be in all likelihood. I could, but the rumor is. There's a rumor that the script has an evil Steve Trevor as the villain.
Can we just let that guy die? He died literally. Stop. He literally died 100 years ago,
and then died again less than 100 years ago. But I'm like, can't we just have like dark? Here's the problem.
The less said about 84, the better, please.
Joe Corallo, what's up, dude? I love more Wonder Woman on the big screen. Personally, I'd like to see either Silver Swan, Devastation, or Dr. Cyber show up as the next villains. I feel like they'll go Dr. Psycho.
Please don't go with Dr. Psycho.
Don't go Dr. Psycho. No. That's
who I want to be a love.
You're asking for DC's She-Hulk. I will say that now.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, Nick.
Here's who I want to be the love interest. the grandson of Etta Candy.
No.
Okay.
No.
Bit of a deep cut.
No.
But it's
someone
other than Steve Trevor.
Please stop turning a Wonder Woman into a romance story. We've done that in the past 2 movies, unless it's Superman.
Basically the guy, like, it's like, instead of Steve Trevor, why don't you have it be a descendant of someone else from her life? I mean, come on.
Because the last 2 movies had a romance. Can't we just have a standard action movie?
With Wonder Woman, you're gonna sprinkle a little romance in there. I mean, that's a given.
All right,
well,
fine.
It's in the modern day. There's Superman.
Fine. How about this? The Wonder Woman movie is actually a Super Wonder movie, and they get together at the end. You can't defend that because I gotcha.
Okay, that
literally at the end of the movie, Super Wonder is canon. They have a big kiss.
Here's the thing,
and they you can't defend that. You can't defend that.
No, but
Nick.
The reason why they're not going to do that is because they're not going to have Superman. They would have to explain Superman leaving Lois Lane.
No, we could do the Nightmare verse. Basically, Darkseid does kill Lois, and then Superman moves on with Wonder Woman.
That's true. They could do that.
No, what happens is Thanos comes into the DC universe, finds the Infinity Stones
away,
and no, he does one snap, and he literally only snaps Lois away, and then he winks at the camera, says "Bye, guys," and then leaves.
Yeah, and by the way, Joe, I do agree with you. All those villains are great. I would love to see Silver Swan, because Silver Swan is like a close friend of Wonder Woman, essentially kind of like an adopted sister who was like corrupted by like cybernetic implants. That would be actually really cool.
But I heavily encourage they don't go with Dr. Psycho, because then
do not go Dr. Psycho. That's a Me Too thing waiting to happen. Oh my gosh.
Okay,
no.
Here's a question for you guys. What if Justice League 3 is full Darkseid, but Justice League 2 is more of an Injustice movie?
Wait. Raimi has the point. Grail invades Themyscira and nearly destroys it. Grail dies, making Darkseid speed up his plans. I mean, that's how we get Darkseid to show up now.
No, what I want is...
You really have to set that up, but that could work.
True.
No, Justice League 2 is an Injustice movie. And then Justice League 3 is Darkseid. And basically, it's... here's my version of Justice League. Lex Luthor, Deathstroke, Cheetah, because I want that character to get redemption. Basically, you get all the villains. Also, you get a reanimated Zod, because
they're not going to do that again.
No, but he's basically a villain of a team, like an Injustice team. No,
but they're not going to reanimate him again, because that's how we got Doomsday.
It rejuvenates him, and
it's actually Michael Shannon as Zod. It's not Doomsday.
No, but I know, but that character is dead, because here's the thing: they're not going to change. They're not going to change or retcon anything from Zack's movies. They're not going to.
Okay, who would you have on the Injustice League? So we got Lex Luthor, Deathstroke, Cheetah.
You can't have a Kryptonian on the Injustice League, dude. That's way too overpowered.
Okay, fine. We'll take off Zod, but who else? I definitely want Cheetah on there, because I want Kristen Wiig,
Ocean Master, Manta, Cheetah.
No, not Ocean Master, because they're kind of going into a redemption arc.
All right, then.
But Black Manta for sure.
Yeah. Essentially, what I would do is use. They could do Killer Croc's on the Suicide Squad. What I would use is essentially I would use Lex Luthor.
Joker?
Obviously, that'll be the one. We can't do. No. You cannot put the Joker on a team. You cannot put the Joker on the team. He will kill the team. But
Gorilla Grodd.
You could do Grodd.
Well, they got to introduce him.
Here's why they're not going to. Nick, here's why they're not going to do an Injustice storyline for movie 2, because people are really sore and tired of the evil Superman trope, and they're going to take it in a more hopeful scenario.
I mean, that's the big reason why Black Adam was more anti-hero than actual straight up villain.
But with Superman, they're not gonna make him evil. I get the feeling that when Zack comes back, that's gonna be the first thing that changes. He'll probably have Darkseid kidnap and imprison Superman in a kryptonite prison. And by the way, Raimi has a good one: Lex, Giganta, Deathstroke, Black Adam. Okay, Sinestro, Black Manta, Cheetah. That's a solid lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure Cheetah didn't renounce her wish. I'm pretty sure she didn't.
She did, because she turned back into a human. They show her in the movie. Everyone had to renounce their wish. That was the whole point of Wonder Woman having that really BS speech whilst her lasso was attached to Maxwell Lord's foot.
But she doesn't always get her powers back through experimentation.
She could always. The one thing I will say about that scene from Wonder Woman 1984, the reason why I'm not totally bashing that scene is because you know that young Bruce Wayne wished for his parents to come back to life, and then he had to wish them to be dead again. So that actually is kind of interesting.
I was really digging Cheetah's character up on like that final fight, like was really bad CGI. But I feel like up until that point, I was really digging Cheetah.
They wasted the Kingdom Come golden armor.
Yes,
that is an unforgivable sin.
And they wasted Maxwell Lord because here's the thing.
Oh, we knew they were going to turn Maxwell Lord to a Trump allegory. We knew that.
Here's the thing.
Pedro Pascal was perfect as Maxwell Lord, though. That's the other problem.
He would be good if he had the proper material. But what I'm saying is that when I saw the trailer and they had the golden armor, I immediately thought, okay, Maxwell Lord is the type of threat that Wonder Woman would pull out the golden armor, because she only pulls that out if it's like end of the world crap. But when I saw what happened, I'm like, okay, that sucks. But by the way, Dave brings up, agree, maybe the Legion of Doom and Justice League nearly kill each other, and Darkseid's army invades at the end, and Superman fights and Lois dies. And
you want to know a sign that Wonder Woman was poorly written? Like, such an important piece of armor is just literally sitting up against in a wall in her secret room. And she's like, I found it. Like, off screen, it's like, whatever. It's like
something that's so like important to her people.
Like, if she would have found it, like, literally in the movie, that would have been good, fine.
The problem with that movie, again, is that was the problem with the old regime is that they kept trying to turn everything into like Reeves and the Linda Carter era, which you can't do now because, like this way, the audience likes dark-ish storylines. You still have to have some comedic flair in them, but they don't. It's Superman Returns, and we say this every week, proves that
middle ground. That's what we need. We don't need Reeves. We don't need we don't need dark. We don't need light. We need that middle ground. I feel like Black Adam actually did a really good job of riding that line. I feel like they did an awesome job tone wise. Of it was not dark. It wasn't light. It was kind of dark-ish, but it still kind of had like I feel like that is the tone I want for DC going forward.
And as it relates to Superman, when Zack comes back, he is at the point when Superman can be that a positive, hopeful being, because that's the point in the arc where he turns into that. That's the whole point of Justice League.
But would you ever put Black Adam on the Justice League?
No.
Because the comics did try that.
And it sucked. Year. You know why? You know why they did that? Because it's Bendis.
Oh, I got a great scene for you.
What?
The Injustice Society tries to recruit Black Adam, but he tells him to go to hell.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Black he doesn't care about their... He doesn't care about these heroes. The only thing Black Adam cares about is anything that threatens Kondak, and that's that's literally the only thing. Like if Darkseid is like basically the only way they get him to team against Darkseid is say, hey, if you don't team up with us, the whole world's going to get destroyed, and that includes Kondak, and that would like his head would shoot up.
And Dave the Impaler, that is the only good CW show. Now here's the thing.
Arguably,
Season 2 was great. I'm waiting to see if it breaks the CW curse, because the way the CW shows go is that if seasons 1 and 2 are good, and then it all goes downhill from there. Now, if season 3 is good, now let me put it this way: they have so much potential because season 1 and 2 were amazing, really, really good. Tyler Hoechlin, how great is it that we have 2 great depictions of Superman? 2 live action guys that get the character and are that character. Granted, the suit's a little wonky. I'm waiting to see what they do with the season 3 suit.
They essentially split John into 2 separate characters and made made Jordan, which is a glorified OC. Now,
so in the weights heavier, that they do have the Super Sons.
If it was John and Connor, I might have been able to swallow. I might have been able to bear it a bit more.
Yeah,
if it was John and Connor, but you just made an OC specifically for this series. And then they basically did it
on the powers too. That's the other thing. I'm like, all right.
Don't get me started
in the Bizarro world.
Yeah.
And he literally, if you look at his costume, it was Connor from the 90s.
And the less said about the Gotham Knights show, the better.
Oh, you mean the one where Batman dies and his bat suit is a tuxedo with a bat mask? Oh, where they have a son of Batman that's not Damian? I mean, at least do that.
They tried to cram Carrie Kelly's Robin, but that just made it worse.
Yeah, because it's like you have to establish the Dark Knight Returns. And Stargirl is good. Granted, I've only seen season 1. I have to watch the other seasons, but I've heard it's good. That's but the one thing that's not comic books that Jeff Johns has written well. You know why? Because he invented the character. So it's really easy for him to write that character well.
And fun fact, Stargirl was actually based off his deceased sister. Like, she's literally modeled after her.
So it's a passion project for him too.
What if they kind of have it so that, like, on HBO Max is the Earth 2 and the Reeves stuff takes place on Earth 2?
Like the actual Reeves verse. In other words, because they did establish in the comics that the Reeves and Keaton Batman, Superman and Batman are on the same Earth.
That makes no sense.
I'm pretty sure
Reeves
they did.
becomes Keaton's Batman as he gets older. Is that what you're saying, Jared?
No,
that makes no sense.
What I'm saying is that Michael Keaton's Batman, there's Batman 1989 and Superman, whenever that movie
78
came out, are to take place on the same Earth.
Oh, okay, okay.
But I'm talking about the Matt Reeves, like Patterson.
Yeah.
So basically, you can have, the Batman takes place on the same universe as Stargirl, the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so basically, you could, like, if you want to have like an HBO Max, you just call that Earth 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so basically, you open the door for Patterson to literally come onto Stargirl. As
You know what's hilarious? That's literally what I thought they were going to do when they announced the Snyder Cut. I thought they were just going to tell Snyder, you have all of HBO Max, and then we have the movie thing, and then we can actually bring them together. That would be cool. Yeah,
like,
but my point is that's the one, like, non-comic book thing that Jeff Johns has been able to produce that's been good, because when you think about it, the projects he co-wrote 1984. We all know how that turned out, and the other project that he was heavily involved in is the non-existent cut of Justice League. So,
like, I really feel like they have an opportunity here to create an Earth 2. Okay, like you can't really fit the Joker in there because the timeline of the Joker and the Batman do not match up, because the Joker takes place in the 70s, and Bruce Wayne literally exists as a 12-year-old in that. And where also, because like in the Reeves Batman, they got killed in 2002 coming from seeing Shrek.
Yeah.
Like that's my head. Okay, you want to talk about headcanon? Like, you want to talk about, like, inserting canon? My headcanon.
At a later point.
Came out, this is really quick.
Yeah,
so they come out from a movie theater. It's 2002. My headcanon is they just got out of a showing of Shrek.
Yeah,
and they got murdered coming out, like, literally the last thing that Thomas and Martha Wayne saw was a green ogre before they got killed.
Exactly. But anyway, Raimi says, do you think the DC EU, or for first off, the Matt Reeves verse does not exist in the DCU? It's called the DCU now. Do you think they'll make him put other Justice League characters in his universe? I feel like when he's done with DC, they will add Superman if he doesn't want it. I don't think so. I think they'll keep
Here's what I'm thinking, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, this is kind of a little bit of a crack theory. Basically, they're going to create an Earth 2, okay? Mm-hmm. They're going to take Superman and Lois, the Matt Reeves Batman, Stargirl, and basically combine all that into a Earth 2, okay? So basically, Tyler Hoechlin Superman will exist in the same universe as Patterson Batman, and then you have Stargirl and the Justice Society. They've done their thing. Because if you notice, in Stargirl, they don't even mention Superman. Like, there's no indication that Superman even exists at all. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I mean, honestly, and then if you want a Green Arrow, just bring back Stephen Amell and say, like, a version of his Arrow is that universe's Green Arrow. If you want to, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, if you want to, Stephen Amell would come back in a heartbeat to play Green Arrow, and you don't even have to have it be Arrowverse Arrow. It's just another version. It's like that universe's
Same
Green
actor,
Arrow.
different version.
Except they have him actually act like Oliver Queen and not Batman.
Also, in this version, the actor for John Diggle is actually Green Lantern because the version of the Flash in Stargirl is like the same Jay Garrick that you see on the Flash. And he says when he sees John Diggle, he recognizes him as John Stewart.
And they did say that the Diggle that shows up in Superman and Lois is a different Diggle than the one in the Arrowverse. So they could always. So again, it opens up that they can do the Green Lantern thing where he just becomes John Stewart.
Yeah, because there is love for the Arrowverse. Let's be honest. And if you want to create like an Earth 2 out of an amalgamation of like maybe you want to have the Doom Patrol be on Earth 2. You know, if you want to take like the best parts, like maybe even have the Titans. Well, not the Titans because Titans opens up too many problems.
I got it. Patterson's Batman. As he gets older, then you have Dick Grayson Nightwing with Titans. Doom Patrol, have them all condensed there together. So you have Batman, you have Titans, you have.
I just Titans opens up too many problems because like that kind of creates a lot of like you got to assume stuff. I'm just creating what's already here, like Doom Patrol.
Mm-hmm. And by the way,
I just.
What if they bring in the Anti-Monitor after Darkseid?
I mean, a movie version.
Go ahead, Nick.
In this mental exercise, I'm trying to create an Earth 2 out of like the best parts of like all the TV stuff.
Yeah, we know that.
And that's yeah.
But what about the Anti-Monitor coming in? Because I think they could do that. Here's the thing: don't do a Crisis on Infinite Earths storyline because do a Darkseid war, except this Darkseid versus the Anti-Monitor.
I mean, honestly,
they don't kill Darkseid.
If they set it up properly, a Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1 and 2 would literally be bigger than Endgame. Like you thought that portal scene was nuts. Imagine that with DC characters, and you bring in literally everyone.
They could have Brandon Routh Superman, Smallville Superman, Henry Cavill Superman teaming up against Darkseid.
You literally see Stephen Amell walk through the portal with the Smallville version of Green Arrow. You know, like Dean Cain.
You see Aquaman with the less cool Aquaman from Arrow from Smallville, and he goes, "You suck."
And then you also have Hawk walk in, and it's played by the same because it's like the same actor.
Hawk walks in, yeah, because he played. Here's the thing. I have a feeling they'll keep the Batman contained with its own spin-off and movie shows, and they might see it as an obligation. Yeah, that's true. It's the same reason why they didn't set anything in the Nolan verse, because guess what? He had a stipulation that Batman's the only superhero in this universe, and I think Reeves has the same one.
Remember, to be fair, they did offer Christian Bale $50 million. It almost became a thing where the Nolan verse got looped in with it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Nolan himself,
and a lot of that was from the Bat embargo as well, to an extent.
So he said one can exist, but I'm pretty sure he just wants Batman to be in his universe.
He wants his own playground. He wants his own sandbox that he decides the rules on, which is fair.
That's fine.
So right now, I feel like the movie's in limbo. I feel like the only hope for that movie is to make it either an HBO Max movie or more likely miniseries. Because I feel like if you make it a miniseries on HBO, you can literally do all the spin-offs you want. Like they want to do a Penguin one, Catwoman one. It can be done.
Yeah. There's potential there. I'm fairly certain that, let's be honest, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if around the time that we get the confirmation that Affleck's back as Batman for like other projects, if like they say we're shelving the Batman 2 for right now.
Well, actually, what they're going to do is they're just not going to talk about it. They're just going to quietly say it got delayed and delayed and delayed. And then 5 years down the line, when nobody cares anymore, they'll be like, oh, yeah, it's canceled. Whatever.
Yeah, as soon as Affleck is done playing Batman, they'll cancel it. And they'll say, okay, it didn't work out.
What they're doing is they want to avoid controversy. So the best way to do it is to quietly cancel it and just don't acknowledge it as canceled. And by the time no one cares anymore, then you just say, oh, yeah, we canceled it, whatever. And
Yeah,
that's
I
how
know.
Hollywood works.
I know Batman 2 in 2025. The reason why I'm saying
Earliest,
their way
at the earliest.
earlier, even that. But the reason why I'm saying that looks like a quiet canceling because that's a really, 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 really far time down the road.
Yeah.
And with the breakneck pace that, well, let me put it this way, if they want quality over quantity, so I mean, I guess, but here's the thing: if there's so much like, oh, by the way, is it actually true they offered Christian Bale BVS? Chris Nolan was an executive producer. Yeah, I believe they did. As Nick said, they offered.
Let me stretch my Google flu.
And while we're waiting on that,
actually, I do know that I think Bale was offered the opportunity to be the Batman in the original BVS. If Marvel has 3 Spider-Mans theatrical, I think it's fine that. Yes, but here's the thing: they had 3 Spider-Man in one movie, not
and
like
Sony, and it was a direct collaboration with Sony to the
and
license.
it was a direct collaboration. That's the difference. It's not like they have an Andrew Garfield movie and a Tom Holland separate movie releasing at the same time. It's a completely different scenario.
The only way the Batman 2 would work is if it's direct to HBO Max. No box office, no theatrical. HBO Max exclusive. That's the only way they could make it work.
Which I think that's honestly a good way for Reeves, because here's the problem with the Batman. Even if you like it, it feels long. And here's the thing: it actually feels longer than the Snyder cut.
And that's why I'm saying they could make all the HBO Max shows Earth 2.
Exactly.
Like just literally have it be Earth 2 and literally set them far enough apart to where they don't affect each other. But if you want to have them, like literally like have the Justice Society be their version of Justice League, so that way you can do a Justice Society movie and just like I mean, it'd be crazy to have Batman join the Justice Society, but like, I mean, come on, crazier things have happened.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but they're not going to do that because it would really confuse the audience having 2 Batman movies coming out the theatrical around the same time,
or even one after the other. Like
it's a different thing, dude.
Year.
Again, Rami, it's 2 very different scenarios because one's in a shared universe, the other's not. I mean, a shared universe like other superheroes, as far as we know. They're
not to mention, you're talking about Disney movies in general, like the typical Disney fairy tale movies, a completely different bracket and context.
Yeah, because let me put it this way: people will go to Disney movies no matter what. DC is playing severe damage control catch up right now,
and quality control.
I mean, most people's are like. I mean, this is kind of a bit off topic, but have you heard that Amazon is going to be retooling Rings of Power?
That's a rumor, and I believe.
Why did you say that name? Because that deserves it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly. I saw it because here's the thing. I haven't read all the books, but I'm familiar with the lore enough to know that. To recognize and they just told the lore and said to screw off.
Why did you say that name?
And ironically, and here's the sad thing: Tolkien has been taking his time with the other books, with House of Dragon and Fire and Ice, and House of Dragon was still better.
Actually, George R. R. Martin was the guy who does Game of Thrones. Tolkien is Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I had it backwards.
Tolkien's been dead for like 30 years. 40, 50 years, actually.
But here's the thing, Rami. It doesn't matter what the movie's title. It's still going to be a separate Batman movie and a separate... it's still going to be 2 different Batman movies. It doesn't matter if it's titled Dark Knight Returns or Arkham Knight. It doesn't matter.
Because you're still going to be using the Batman symbol. You're still going to have a Batman character on the poster. And, like, like... You could have you see Batman and you see a Batman shaped figure, and you let's say 2023.
Raimi, I feel you, but we're not in the bat embargo anymore.
And Raimi, here's the other issue. We could figure it out, but right now DC is trying to appeal to the general audience as well, and the general audience is not going to be able to figure it out. They're going to get very confused.
Like, I think if it's like a Batman on streaming than on the movie screen. That is separate story. Enough.
Like I said.
Like right now we have 2 Supermen. Like people are not confusing Tyler Hoechlin for Henry Cavill. That and that's the same thing with streaming. Like if you have Patterson be the TV, like just say TV, just for and that also encompasses streaming. Patterson be the TV Batman, and then Ben Affleck be the movie one, no one's gonna get confused.
No, because it's two very first off, it's two
Like how they tried to make
different
Batwoman in the Arrowverse and severely failed at it.
That is an insult to the Batwoman character. Forget them trying to make Batman without making Batman.
No. They turned Batwoman into a gender bent Bruce. Let's just call it for what it is.
Oh, it will be when it fits a woman.
No, but
No, take him off.
Take
him out the stream.
But dude, you're giving the general audience too much credit. There's still people that ask why Batman is not in the Avengers.
It's not that audiences are stupid. That's not what we're saying.
No,
we're saying is
Comics
we as fans
very niche.
Yes.
Comics.
Also, we as fans are very plugged in. You know, we are very plugged into this stuff, and like we understand all the little nuances. Like it's gonna be confusing enough when you do the Flash movie, and then Michael Keaton shows up for part of the movie. That's gonna be confusing enough. But like these general audiences, even if they're like they call themselves a fan of Batman, you know, they're not as invested. They may not be as vested as we are, and they just might go see the movies and like the characters and buy the merch, but they're not like trolling websites. They're not. Yeah,
it's like let me put it this way: I got into a debate with someone on Nerdette Newsstand stream like a long time ago because I said this was during the whole Batgirl got canceled thing. Because I said Batgirl is still an obscure character, and someone brought up that like a lot of people know Batgirl from the Adam West show, and I'm like, that show came out like a long time ago, and Barbara Gordon is
her IP is drastically weaker compared to Batman's.
Yeah.
Okay, so I agree with Jay Heat that the IP is weaker, but I wouldn't go so far as to call her an obscure character. I actually think she's she's a fairly well-known character.
She's recognizable. She's iconic, but her IP isn't strong enough to carry her own movie.
Because here's the thing also, the Barbara Gordon from the cartoon show, from not the cartoon, the Adam West show is way different than the one we have now because we didn't have any Killing Joke happen.
I mean, there's been multiple versions of Barbara since then. You know, like she was in Batman and Robin. She was it. I mean, Batgirl, it's basically in terms of recognizability, it's Batman, Robin, Batgirl, Nightwing, and then everything else.
But my point is that I'll tell you why David Zaslav canceled it because he's like, okay, so when you compare Batman to Batgirl, Batgirl's not going to draw the crowd.
Oh, I agree.
Batman
with you.
Will.
Like, I'm not debating you on that portion of it. I'm just saying to calling her obscure is kind of a bit hyperbole. Like it's
what I was. That's what I meant.
Definitely a weaker IP.
Compared to Batman, I said compared to Batman, she's obscure. Compared to Batman,
still, I don't like that. Like compared to Batman, she's not obscure, but she's
obscure
not.
Obscure isn't the word I would use in this context. I get what you're saying, Jared, but it's not the word.
I know, in no sense of the word is she obscure, but I like it's. I agree with what you.
Animated is a different thing. Once again, it's a different audience, Raimi.
Batman was barely in Soul of Dragon. I'm sorry,
That's
I got to
true.
rant about that. That like I'm not going to say here because it's not part of the show. But I like Soul of Dragon, but that is not a Batman movie.
Yeah, and dude, again, we're talking about general audience that don't watch animated. That's because most of the people that watch the animated movies are guys like us
and
small
children.
And children who
if
watch
you're
this
watching
stuff on the
this,
regular.
If you're watching the stream, you are in like pretty top tier hardcore fan. Like you are an extremely plugged in fan. If you're watching the stream, yeah, only the best people watch this.
You're a true fan if you watch my stream. But yeah, we ran into this with Tevia around the time that Young Justice got canceled because I said not enough people watched it in order for them to justify keeping it on. He said, I watched it. And I'm like, okay, they're not thinking of the comic book. They're not thinking solely of the comic book fan. Yes, they do think about them. But they are also trying to get more people into these characters because they're operating under the assumption that and by the way, no, there is not a low chance of a Batfleck movie. But I'm just saying,
Raimi, I know you're mad, but bad mouthing isn't going to almost 3:00 in the morning isn't going to help your case.
Here's the thing about Young Justice, and honestly, to a certain extent, also the Batman. Animation is expensive to make. And Young Justice, while mildly successful, it doesn't earn enough money
It's not gangbusters.
And it's just that you can apply that same logic to the Batman.
And Teen
The
Titans.
Batman.
Besides the point.
Well, Teen Titans Go is insanely successful. It earns its keep.
And Harley Quinn.
And Harley Quinn, you know. But the Batman, while it was successful, was still really expensive, and it cost a lot of money to market that movie. That was a really expensive movie to make. And so, while it makes some money, it didn't really make enough money to justify. It might not make enough money to justify continuing. That's the same problem with Young Justice. Like, so they weren't bad. I liked the Batman.
Oh, it was a good movie. No announcing that.
A dang good movie. Like, I say it's a 9 out of 10 movie.
It was a fantastic Batman movie.
And would I love to see a Batman 2? Hell yes. But will we see it?
I'd rather the brand be healthier first before they start doing all this stuff. Because here's the thing, they're also strapped on money too. That's the thing.
Also, Dave, I actually do agree with what he says.
And yes,
not so much like, I mean, merchandise is still important. Not so much now as it was like, because Young Justice was canceled because girls were buying the merchandise. Because back then, shows were boys shows and girls shows. The problem with Young Justice was it was appealing to a lot of girls, and girls were buying the merchandise, and they canceled it because not enough boys were buying it.
And Young Justice was very melodramatic, even in the golden age of season 1 and 2. It was very melodramatic.
Yeah, you got to realize season 1 and 2 were aired in the late 2000s. It was literally like 10 years. You know?
I want to address this. Then we're actually going to wrap up because it's like 3 a.m. But Raimi, no. What we're saying is that they're putting the Matt Reeves Batman movies. They're quietly putting them on hold so that they can do an Affleck solo movie, at least one, and hit him doing team up movies. So in other words, Affleck is going to be the Batman for right now. The only
Reeves,
Batman.
Patterson, I will play devil's advocate. Pattinson has to be HBO Max exclusive. If you really want to be the Batman, it has to be HBO Max exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way. That's the only way.
Or get shopped around.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to get shopped around.
Mm-mm.
Like animated, you can shop around, but like, because like the Cape Crusader is probably going to end up with Amazon. That's
Most
my
likely.
prediction.
Yeah.
But like live action, they want to keep that on HBO Max.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's ultimately what damn. So this is gonna anger a lot of Pattinson fans. Oh yeah, let me put it this way: the Pattinson fans, if you criticize any point of the Batman, they will come at you like holy hell.
Okay.
I went through the Twilight years, so I can take anything.
Oh God, please! I don't want to go back to
my ex-girlfriend. Emphasis on ex made me watch the first Twilight movie. Thank God she stopped at the first Twilight movie.
Please.
But emphasis on X.
You are a brave soul, Jared.
No one hates Twilight.
3.
You want to know the best part about Twilight is the interviews where Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson were just bagging on Twilight and Stephanie Meyer the whole time. No one hates Twilight more than Robert Pattinson. Even when he was Edward Cullen doing like the movies, he was bagging on it.
Maybe they'll show up in the Gotham Knights spin-off show if they're still going forward with it. I think that's gonna be. I think that's gonna be. They'll probably do a pilot and then cancel it, like they did with Swamp Thing.
But
also, Kristen Stewart for Poison Ivy.
I could see that. Jay Heat, what's up?
But I will use one example of sales, and this is the only time I'm going to mention it on the stream. So, regardless of Bendis and everything that went down, Son of Kal-El.
Why did you say that name?
I knew you were going to bring that up. I was preparing.
Let me finish. It was poor numbers. For a flagship, fully marketed Superman book, it was poor numbers, not even mediocre numbers. Bendis's run sold twice as much.
Dude,
as
I was in a debate with someone about Son of Kal-El sales, and they gave me a list, and it wasn't even in the top 50. And I'm like, you expect me to be impressed that Superman's not in the top 50?
And
so the issue where he came out sold well. That one actually sold well.
Because it's the collectors.
Bottom 5, and that's speculation numbers. But I get you.
Also the promotion, all the promotion they got. Yeah. Okay. And also it's like, oh, he's gay now. I'm going to support this. I'm going to buy one issue and then never buy it again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, Raimi, a man after my own heart. Yes, I like both. I prefer Ben. Of the two, I prefer Ben. What about you guys? Of the two, who's your favorite?
I'm a Keaton guy.
No, I mean of Pattinson or Affleck.
Out of the two, it's a hard choice.
I prefer Affleck, but
I can't really make a choice.
Given
they're good for different reasons. Affleck is the one to where Affleck is the Batman that beats up Darkseid.
Mm-hmm.
Pattinson is a Batman that beats up Riddler.
Batman.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it just depends on what kind of direction you're going in. But if you really want to get the most profit and most bang, given DC's financial situation, Ben Affleck is going to get you the money.
Because also here's the thing: he's connected to the Justice League. That adds to his IP appeal. Oh, that's the problem. Here's the thing: I understand. I support Matt Reeves wanting to have his stuff be separate. But let me put it this way: the reason why Ben Affleck's Batman has a higher value is because he connects to Superman and Wonder Woman.
Here's the problem that we're facing. If we're not starting fresh with this universe, okay?
Mm-mm.
If this was just DC just starting out and none of the Snyder stuff happened, Patterson would be Batman. We wouldn't be having
he's younger. He's got more longevity. He can fit the role.
And like honestly,
52.
Like if the Snyder stuff didn't exist, like literally like if you were like if you were to like say if I was like a multi-dimension traveler where I came from like a universe where neither of them existed and I had to pick between two of them where like they would just exist out in a vacuum, I'd pick Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
But because the Snyder stuff exists and it's clear that no matter what, Black Adam clearly shows that universe is going to stick around.
Mm-hmm.
That is without a doubt.
Yeah,
you have that baggage. Yeah.
If they were going to reboot, they wouldn't have brought Cavill back. That pure and simple. They wouldn't have spent the money.
At best, they're going to be doing a retooling.
Yeah, I would imagine the Flash is going to do essentially to the movies what Rebirth did to the comics. Essentially.
No, I would advocate full Flashpoint. Have James Gunn on it and just go all in on the Flashpoint concept. You're going to use it as a convenient device and as a retooling device anyway.
Okay.
Well,
we don't reboot here.
I think they're going to. No, I think Jay Heat's kind of onto something. I think they're going to use it as a plot device for retooling. Like if they want to like change certain details about it and get away with it, like how they did with the Arrowverse, where like in the Arrowverse, John Diggle had a daughter, but when they did the League of Legends of Tomorrow episode, he had a son. But when they did the Flashpoint, it changed it into a son. Small stuff like that. Like for example, the Gravestone, it's not Dick Grayson anymore, it's Jason Todd. Stuff like that. Just kind of fix small stuff here and there. It's kind of their. If they need to switch out actors, they can do it. Like for example. Oh my god.
One more thing, and then we have to wrap up.
Aquaman takes place after Flashpoint.
Aquaman 2 does, yeah.
So, Flashpoint, it changes the face of Mira from Amber Heard to Amelia Clark.
I'm
sorry, it's perfect. Oh my god, I'm a fucking genius. Really well. I'm a motherfucking genius. I'm sorry.
And second off, yeah, exactly. So I wonder if the Penguin spinoff is still happening. That's probably good. I think that all the side shows are going to happen. They could have Batman show up there too, and all the J.J. Abrams DC stuff is thankfully canceled or quietly canceled because I guarantee you that Ta-Nehisi.
They're not going to risk pissing off Twitter. They're just not going to risk it.
They'll just not talk privately. It's canceled. Publicly, they're just not going to talk about it. It's not going to come out.
Like they I think they've learned their lesson from Batgirl.
Can Ezra be changed during his movie? Like looking
it's
through
too far along.
Too far along. They're not going to change the actor.
If they're going to change it, it's going to be like end of the movie. He like Ezra Miller.
Maybe.
No, like literally the last shot of the movie is he wakes up and he looks in the mirror. Suddenly he's Dylan O'Brien.
Or the best way that they can honestly do it is that, and by the way, a younger Mara, maybe. I could see her more as Zatanna.
Amelia Clark.
It has to be Amelia Clark.
Amelia Clark would be your best contender.
But what they would probably do is in the next movie that the Flash shows up in, they'll just have it be Wally West and say Barry had to go do something, and they'll just leave it at that.
I mean,
That's the best way that they could do it.
The character specifically because of the actor, because Black Panther's doing something similar.
I mean, Flashpoint gives you a perfect opportunity to recast him.
But here's the issue: that didn't happen in the comics. So even
this isn't the comics. This isn't the comics.
No, but here's the thing: that's a little too far away from Flashpoint to the point where everyone's going to be like, "Okay, that's a little contrived." It's easier to just say he's doing.
Was Supergirl and Flashpoint? Did they travel to the 1989 Batman verse?
They did, as a matter of fact. That's the universe that Michael Keaton's in. They go into the Keaton verse.
In the comics.
No, not in the comics.
Okay, then we're already really far away from Flashpoint.
No, but what I'm talking about is that the whole changing of the face thing, that's going to be a little too much for there's a lot that you can do.
I mean, I think it's kind of stupid. I like, who cares? Who cares at this point? No one wants Ezra Miller as a Flash anymore. This is like your one shot to legitimately just recast the actor, and it would make
start
sense.
with a clean slate. Don't bury the character. That's basically what Nick is saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's so that you can have Barry Allen and you can have, like, say, all the stuff from Zack Snyder's Justice League happened. It's just because of his Flashpoint, he's a different actor now, different person, different face, and you don't have to have the characters acknowledge it. So,
because Marvel did that with Rhodey.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Flashpoint gives you an option to have an explanation. It actually gives you a narrative reason. So it's like, because the thing is, if you have a perfectly good narrative plot device to explain it, same thing with recasting Mira. You could just say it's because of Flashpoint,
But here's the thing, though. I understand that. Here's the one problem I have, and then we are going to wrap up because it's like 3 a.m. But Raimi says he's not going to be the main guy. He'll be a side Batman, and maybe they'll do a Batman Beyond. But Affleck is going to be the main DC Batman.
Yeah. I could definitely see Keaton coming back for a Batman Beyond. I can definitely.
That's what they should have done from the very beginning. I'm just gonna say that right there.
By the way, did you know that they were actually thinking about doing a Batman Beyond movie as early as like 2002?
And they didn't do it.
Mm-mm.
Okay, you know what? That itself is warranting this right here. I'm sorry, but
yeah, second Warner Brothers.
It does, because that is a wasted opportunity. But my point is, actually, I lost my train of thought.
We're talking about the Flash
in terms of
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller recasting.
Yeah, it's just okay. Oh, I remember what I want to say, and here's my one problem with that. Is that, I mean, would you have them like essentially, because I feel like people are going to say, well, they didn't talk about how their face changed.
Well, because Flashpoint, because by the logic of Flashpoint, that new face is the only face they've known.
True, and then Raimi, Batman 2, but what they'll probably have is that the Ben Affleck solo movie. Batman 2, Batfleck 2, Batfleck 3, if they do a trilogy, and then down the line, if Matt Reeves still wants to do it, the Batman 2, the Batman 3.
It's also why it's like you're basically getting a 2-for-1 deal here with like Mira and the Flash, because it's pretty obvious they're going to recast Mira, and if you say it's because of Flashpoint, whether it's Alexander Daddario or Emilia Clarke, he just goes in, just don't acknowledge it. Maybe they make some cheeky remark that like more direct to the audience than any universe, kind of like what Rhodey was said. It's me, I'm here, deal with it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you have a narrative reason in the story.
Yeah, and like sure, if you have to recast it, then do it. But if you have a perfect narrative reason that makes perfect sense, take it. Mm-hmm. It's like you have the golden ticket. Why not do it?
I can see
just that. Don't bury and essentially replace the character because of an inconvenience.
I wasn't saying permanently do it. I'm saying for like maybe like 2 or so movies, have Wally West just to
why.
Then you would have to set up Flash Rebirth, then bring Reverse Flash in. And
here's the one problem. Here's the one problem with just recasting is that the Barry Allen brand is kind of messed up. Because of what happened to Ezra Miller, so I was just
recasting it puts a new face on it. You literally cast out the trash, and you have him show up in some
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
Oh
I'm
my
sorry.
gosh.
Oh,
That's a joke. We're going to
That
bed now,
guy
but
in. Wait,
we needed a good
David's.
laugh. We needed
Wait.
a good
Okay, if Chris. Okay, let's end on this. If Chris Farley was still alive, who would he play in DCU?
Chris Farley. Ooh,
Harvey Bullock.
definitely
Clay.
Harvey.
I was gonna say Clayface.
Nah. Nah.
Okay, but yeah, Harvey Bullock.
Definitely Harvey Bullock. Clayface is. It could go either way with Clayface. I don't think he has
Or
a-
David Spade plays Clayface.
Yeah, it's not a
Definitely
bad
David-
idea. Let me put it this way. I'm going off of the audience that wanted an explanation why Superman changed his suit. So
A Gotham Knights movie with Chris Farley as Harvey Bullock and David Spade as Gordon.
that would be great. Right. There's also Toyman.
And Amy Yazbek as Renee Montoya. This movie
Yeah,
was made in
exactly.
1998.
There you go. All right. So on that note, we're gonna call out because we're feeling kind of delirious right now, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on, and we will see you guys. Okay. So what? Nicotine as Harvey Bullock. I could see that, but
Yeah.
So
Excelsior.
by the way, tomorrow we're going to be talking about Green Lantern: Beware My Power, the animated movie. And Nick, you have to watch this movie.
Be sure to watch the movie on your own if you can. It's on HBO Max, and there will be spoilers right out of the gate. This is your one warning.
Yeah, it's going to be a spoiler review. And well, yeah, we've been going for like 2 hours and 45 minutes. And yeah, thanks, Rami. And yes, Zach is coming back.
Raimi,
And-
you were a good sport. I appreciate you. With Jared's permission, you're welcome on the stream. You were a very good sport. You got a little heated towards the end, but again,
No,
It
it's
wasn't
totally fine.
I mean,
because-
they were passionate about their point, and I think they argued in good faith.
okay.
And yeah, and then so the Green Lantern movie, and then from now on, what we're gonna do is every Friday night is gonna be instead of doing these late night streams like every night, what we're gonna do is Friday we'll essentially do what like Friday Night Tights does, and that we do like a 3-hour live stream. We can have the four of us, or like
Five
a
with
larger
Axel.
panel. Yeah, exactly. A larger panel. If like Nicotina wants to come on, if Max Priestley wants to come on, if Nerdette wants to come on, whoever wants to come on.
I have the perfect casting for Guy Gardner, Ethan Van Sciver.
Yes, yes. That would piss people.
I mean,
off.
if we're just casting like indie comics people as DC characters.
Twitter.
By the way, Mandy for Star Sapphire.
Oh, and you know what'd be hilarious? Just to screw with people. It's a horrible cast, but just to screw with people. But Gabe El Taib as John Kent. just to screw with people. Can you imagine that announcement? And you know what's kind of funny? And he has full creative control. And then the beta enemy that's like a not intimidating enemy at all is named Tom.
Wait,
is named Thomas Torlor.
Who would be cast as Jay Nakamura while we're on that?
Oh no. By the way, Ripa is Jon Stewart.
Oh yes,
Definitely.
Yes. And then his special power is like they're doing crack. That's his battle cry. That's his
no. And by the way, Ripa's most common construct is a goalpost.
And his Green Lantern suit is the I Saw Him suit, but with the Green Lantern symbol in the middle.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's what we would do. That'd be. Oh my gosh, that'd be so great.
It's all coming together.
I'm gonna start reading the original Young Justice run. Do it. It's good.
Please.
So essentially what we're going to do is that on the Friday night long stream, we'll go 2-3 hours talking about actually anything. We can talk about comic book runs. We can talk about just really anything you guys want to talk about if it's news. And then
have we settled
oh my
on a name
gosh, Cecil for Hush.
Oh,
That's good.
Real quick, I want to plug something.
Yeah.
So if you want more of me and Jay Heat on Friday, so the way this is going to work is at 6 p.m., you're going to get the Friday Night Frenzy on my channel. Go to YouTube, search the Phoenix Press. It's going to be Jay Heat, me, Jared is going to pry himself from work, and maybe a few other people. And it's going to be kind of it's going to, anything goes. This week we're kind of talking about a few of our favorite things, and my friend Jocelyn's going to be there. She's an awesome, female author. She's pretty cool. And yeah, we're going to run for about an hour or two, maybe 3 hours, but I try to keep it 1 or 2 hours. And then later on, you can go too. So you get two double trouble.
And this Sunday, Nick and I, and hopefully Jay Heap, will be starting up essentially a stream where once a week we talk about episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes, I will be there. I love that.
So basically, the way that's going to work is we're going to do 1 episode a week, and we're just going to do the first season for right now, and then go from there. And we're going to talk about it for about a half hour, 45 minutes, just so that it doesn't go too crazy or whatnot, Yeah,
that'll probably be more of a podcast direct upload on YouTube.
And then in terms of my channel, we are going to start also a watch through of Titans of the new season of Titans when it launches.
Jared, I sent you a link.
I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
And for our Friday night show, have we settled on a name?
Well, mine is Friday Night Frenzy. So
night one, you mean?
On the group chat.
Yeah.
Could you flash it on screen real quick?
Don't say it yet because I want to actually. Yeah, that's the link. I don't know why I have to show on here because it's not like they could highlight it and copy and paste it.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. But it's for the people who just for the video and whatnot.
Sorry, guys. You're gonna have to wait for the first show. You're gonna have to wait tomorrow night for the show.
Yeah, essentially, we'll have a show name. We'll narrow it out. We have an idea of what we want to call it, but we're almost there. It's gonna be like a fun variety show where anything goes. We can talk about anything. You guys can come out with the topic. And by the way,
can we talk about how awesome Wonder Bat is?
Okay, so Nick will not be there on Friday.
You said anything goes.
Anything that I have to approve because I am the president and founder of Comics League. So
it's good to be the king.
Yeah. Let me put it this way. Subject to my approval, I am the David Zaslav.
Your axe is thirsty.
And Nick, if you don't watch it, you will turn into J.J. Abrams and to my David Zaslav.
Oh, that's a threat. That is a threat.
My axe is.
I gotta
thirsty.
It's not there, by the way. The trident's not there.
Yeah, this is right there.
I don't see it.
I'm gonna need one of the olds. I'm gonna need the old.
Oh, okay. You're pointing to the corner. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So on that note, we're gonna call it a night, gentlemen. It was a pleasure.
See you tomorrow night for Green Lantern. Beware my power.
And and by the way, I'm really surprised I tolerated Nick's horrible casting choices. It's ridiculous. And I'm thinking of writing a Young Justice script with the vibes. Yes, please do that.
Go for it.
That applies,
yes.
Dude. It's kind of funny. A lot of the Young Justice shows, in terms of the action and then the tone, seems like it was written by Zack Snyder. A little bit, except less good.
Yes. Very melodramatic. Very melodramatic.
It's like a mix of Zack Snyder and the CW. Which that's a horrible mixture. Yes, see you, Dave. And all right, stay working, everyone. Bye-bye.